Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Shepard. I'm joined by Mrs. Mouse.
Hi, Shep.
How you doing?
What if I start calling you Shep? I don't like it.
Well, okay. You didn't even let me respond before you already talked yourself out of it.
Yeah. But okay, how would you feel?
Pretty good, Patty. See, if you're going Shep, I'm going Patty.
Right.
For Padman.
I don't hate Patty.
Patty's cute.
Patty's kind of cute.
St. Patty's Day.
I think you have some male friends who call you Shep.
Not Shep, Shepard. All my friends from Detroit call me Shepard.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I'm one of them.
Of my friend from Detroit? No, you're my friend from California. By way of Atlanta.
All right.
By way of Duluth.
Yeah,
by way of
honest.
By way of
Suburbia.
Tennessee. You were there for a minute.
Collierville.
Collierville,
Tennessee.
Collierville?
Uh-huh.
It's like they were like it was a placeholder, somethingville. Okay, listen, that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
You can call me Shepard. You can call me Shep. Yeah,
it doesn't feel right in my body.
Okay.
You're not that to me.
No, I'm not Shep.
No.
Now, some people call my dad Shep.
Okay. D. Shep.
D. Shep. You know this whole thing with my dad in his golf bag? So my father's initials are DRS.
Right.
As are mine.
Yes.
DRS, drag reduction system. Ding, ding, ding. Shout out to F1. It's returning. So DR Shepard, he wasn't lying, but on his bag, he had DR Shepard. Dr. Shepard. Yes.
On purpose to make it seem.
He never told me, but I also was around when people called him Dr. Shepard, and he did not correct them. So you tell me.
Well, and also you call yourself a doctor, so let's not throw stones.
But I don't have anywhere on any of my belongings DR Shepard.
You're about to.
That's a good point. I like that it occurred to me that it's drag reduction system the other day. Like I was born to be DRS. Get rid of that drag. Let's go full out.
Are you excited for Formula One?
I am.
Drive to Survive?
Drive to Survive came out Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back. And they're testing this weekend. They were testing this weekend.
Oh.
It's all starting. Yeah. We're just weeks out from our first race. God, welcome back. I don't know how I made it. It was a short window too. Okay. None of this has to do with our esteemed guest.
No.
I want to think of a new way to phrase this because I don't want to become repetitive and you lose confidence in what I'm saying. I loved Shania Twain. She was excellent.
It was
blew my mind.
Yeah.
The level of honesty and frankness.
She has a story I was not familiar with. Maybe other people are.
Wild story.
But it's very wild.
From the great north.
A lot of resilience.
Yes, our great fine neighbors to the north she comes from, by way of Canada.
Oh, no,
by way of
I
Duluth.
just thought of something.
What?
Shania, as you learn, doesn't know abbreviations. And we
this was triggering.
spent a lot of this intro talking about DR.
Yep.
That's short
acronyms.
for doctor.
And Dax Randall.
And if you're
drag reduction.
If you're from Canada,
yeah.
then you won't understand any of that.
So she claims. I don't know. You'll find out what she claimed. She's incredible, you guys. She sold over 100 million records. She is the #1 female record. What we found out, maybe #2.
Well, check it on the fact check.
Because one says S. I don't know. I'm still going to say she has it.
Oh, well, when you
40
learn,
million in albums
is incredible.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
She's either 1 or 2. That's the point.
Yeah, she's 2.
Okay, listen. Did a lot of great albums. Come on over.
Oh.
Ooh, The Woman in Me. Up now. And she has a new album out right now called Queen of Me. And she'll have a tour where you can go watch her perform Queen of Me.
And I'm gonna.
And I'd like to take us out to Shania by saying, let's go, girls. Ow.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
It's really exciting to have you. My best friend in the whole world, her first concert was your concert. She went with her dad.
How cool.
She
I'd
was
love to
really,
hear
really
that.
little.
In Atlanta.
Aw.
In, I think, maybe Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Okay. Also a great venue for Shania.
That's right.
Yeah.
Her dad took her as a father-daughter date.
Oh, man.
I know. And she got a tea, and now it's like the best tea. I want it. I want to steal
Oh,
it.
she has the original T-shirt from the
Yes.
concert.
Yes.
That is so sweet. My tours are very much that same reunion with the audience because they were 5 and 6
Yes.
and little kids, and
Yeah.
now they're 26
Exactly.
or 36, somewhere in that range.
But still playing you. She plays all the time, and she says she can't listen without being happy. So every time she's low, she plays you. Makes her
Well,
happy.
that's why I write happy songs.
It works.
If I get low, like especially with this album, it was my sort of mind over matter album. COVID is very isolating. I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about my friends. I'm worried about what's going to happen to the world. So get in, the room alone with my guitar and I write happy songs. And so I write myself out of it.
I've heard this about this album, Queen of Me. Now, my first thought was, how different could your COVID life have been? First question, do you actually live in Switzerland? I think that's really curious.
I do live in Switzerland.
Because your husband is Swiss? Is that the motivation?
My husband is Swiss. My child was born in Switzerland.
Wow.
Okay. You love Switzerland.
So I do.
You hear of people getting very successful and moving to Paris. Makes sense. Maybe they go to London. You just don't hear about a lot of people going to Switzerland. Do you recognize it's a little curious?
I do. But I travel a lot. It's a good hub spot, very central for Europe.
Okay.
I love nature. I like to be quiet. I wouldn't have chosen a city to move to.
Yeah, bustling.
So those are my hunches. One who moves to Switzerland probably doesn't mind being indoors quite a bit. I mean, the weather's foul quite a bit of the year.
I don't mind the rain.
Okay.
I'm Canadian. We have cold weather most of the year over there.
Shania, I'm from Detroit, so I'm right across the river.
There, you know.
right across the Ambassador Bridge from you.
But
where
you
you
still
were brought
go
up.
outside when it's cold.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck. You wear a sweatshirt. When
That's
it's
it. You
50
dress
here,
for it.
I'm freezing. When it's 10 degrees there, I'm in a sweatshirt. It's very curious.
I think I
I know
knew. Yeah, I know you. No, I knew in my heart that you're from Canada, but that's such a cognitive dissonance. Like,
Because
does
of the country?
everyone think you're from the South? They must.
Well, I don't speak like I'm from the South.
At all.
What is my accent? Can you tell?
It has tiny hints of Canada, but very subtle.
It's just neutral, like
Yeah,
Switzerland.
there's a little
Ding,
bit.
ding, ding.
There's just a choppiness to some of it.
Yep.
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 Yep. Just a choppy chop.
Little chop, yep.
Yep.
We're little chirpy choppies.
Yes.
Well, when I first came to Nashville,
Yeah.
when I first got signed with my record deal, that was being explained was, can you slow down a little bit? You talk so fast. So I started to slow it down a little bit.
Well, in the South, you have to talk really slow. They require
They're talking
a
on
drawl.
0.7 speed.
Yeah.
No, but I was like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like a racer speaker. I'm hyperactive on top of it. So that didn't help. So I've kind of maybe neutralized my speech a little bit.
Back to Switzerland. It couldn't have been an enormous departure, quarantine. I'm an alien. I'm watching your life February 2020, and then I'm watching your life May 2020. I'm up in the sky. I don't know about this pandemic. I bet your routine hasn't changed that much, has it?
I am a nester. I'm more productive with my songwriting and creatively when I'm isolated. I like to be alone a lot.
Yes.
So yeah, no, you're not wrong. I mean, the pandemic didn't hurt me in that way. It didn't shut me down.
Yeah, it didn't take you out of a world you were completely immersed in 60 hours a week, and all of a sudden there's this radical shift.
Exactly. I'm not that
Same
person.
for us, by the way. We're not parading around town because
Right.
it's too much. And then I work from home, have for the last 5 years, continued to do that. So mostly it was in my mind.
And I mean, the obvious concerns that were weighing us all down, the more global
Yes.
concern about, is it going to end? What's really going on? Like you guys, it wasn't really my lifestyle that changed
Right.
so much.
Are you an introvert? Do you get energy by being
I
alone?
yes, I do. I'm very much that way.
And are you drained by social interactions?
Absolutely.
Do you anticipate a great nap after this?
No. I'm actually hyper energetic as a person. I'm an insomniac when I get on a creative flow.
Okay.
I don't want to eat. I don't want to sleep. Nobody bother me. I just need to get this out.
Is it teetering on
Hyper-focused.
mania a little bit? Like a gentle...
definitely.
Yeah, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I find that when I'm in the very sweetest of spots and most productive and prolific, I'm also not the most stable upstairs. Me personally.
Only with age now, I'm realizing because people are more comfortable to tell me maybe. I don't know. I'm just not defensive about it. It doesn't bother me, but definitely I can be the weirdo in the room for sure.
I'm drawn to weirdos.
We love weirdos.
Yeah.
They're our favorite
We're in the
types.
weirdo business, actually.
I mean, a lot of creatives just do.
Drugs.
No.
Yes.
I do not do
I
drugs.
know you
Don't
don't.
include me. So my creativity is my drug. It is an obsessive thing.
Yeah.
I guess passion and obsession is really the spirit that I'm in or the mindset that I'm in when I'm creating.
Yes. But would you acknowledge it is a bit of a tightrope, right? Not far from that zone is depression.
I can go there, but I can also reset. If
Like you're trying to keep it in
Yeah.
this like little narrow window
Yeah.
of peak perfect, but you're also aware like, oh, I'm kind of juggling chainsaws here a little bit.
There
I'm not
is truth to
sleeping.
that.
I'm not eating. Like these are not things that
It's
are
not
sustainable.
normal.
Right.
No, that's the weirdo zone part.
Right.
And then you just get more weird when you don't
Yeah,
replenish.
the songs really start flying out.
You are right about that because when you're on this high of creativity, I'll listen back to what I've been doing. And in the moment, I thought it was just
Yes.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Then the next day or the next week, I revisit and I'm going, that really is not that brilliant. That is not great at all.
I was untethered a little bit
And
there.
I spent all that time on it and I was so invested in it.
Yeah.
And now I realize that it really wasn't all that great at all. And I do live on a little bit of a roller coaster ride in that sense, but I do have a reset, and that is get back to writing, get back to creating, and write myself into a different frame of mind.
Right. You also have some spiritual practice.
Well, I mean, I do meditate.
Yes, me too. TM?
What's TM?
I guess you don't.
Transcendental.
meditation.
A specific type.
No, you know what? So I will tell you, don't use a lot of abbreviations because I'm not good at those.
Okay, great.
Okay.
It's not really a Canadian thing. I did not grow up with abbreviations.
You did
So
not?
when I came to the States, that was one of the biggest things. I felt so lost. Everybody was
FYI, we use them here a
abbreviating.
lot.
Okay, yeah, I know. And I mean, I would be the dummy that one time would go, "What's FYI?"
Sure,
like I'm
sure.
not even kidding. Which makes me feel very uncool as well.
You feel like we live in a paradigm of abbreviations and acronyms?
Way more than I ever grew up with.
Have you noticed?
A lot more.
I'm obsessed with any documentary that has to do with a self-help program and or / a cult. I like everything about Scientology that exists. I'll watch it. I like everything about the Nexium people and the sex cult. I love it.
And why? Because you like the psychology of it? You like to just study the human nature and where it should or shouldn't go and all of that?
I define myself as someone who can't get duped and cannot get
loves
fooled.
that about
I'm the
So-
same.
Yeah.
I think it's a clarity.
I'm not even worried if it's good or bad. It's just like, this is who I am. Like, in fact, I've probably missed out on a lot of great things because I
But
am
it
very
could be
skeptical.
good or bad. It could be good or bad.
It could be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for myself, I don't even want to label
You
it.
don't
Whether
worry about
it's just
it.
kind of like,
Yeah.
this is how I am. So I'm really interested when other people have fallen under the spell of somebody. I want to see like what the mechanics of it are.
The spell, yeah.
Yeah. And I want to
I
see
hear
like, could I be possibly
Right.
susceptible to that? I don't know. I'm just fascinated by virtually turning your will and your thoughts over to another human that you've elevated above you. Because I would never do it. So it's kind of like watching people do stunts I can't do. So anyways, I noticed that in all those organizations, the level of acronyms just keep going up and up and up. And when you're listening to them talk in the inner circle, it's like, well, the DFAC 5 sermon, we know from the tech is an
Yeah.
and even like
'Cause they
a suppressive people, SOPs. I think at least in Scientology, that started because L. Ron Hubbard was in the Navy. And of course, the military has endless acronyms. So I think
Yeah.
that's why they have it. Go
I
ahead.
think it's because it's a shared language
Hmm.
and that brings people even closer together. It's like, oh, we speak the same language. We know what this means. Psychologically, I think that's why that's
Well, it
important.
also has a pseudo technological component. It seems elevated in high tech if you're using those acronyms. I think that's part of the appeal as well. It's like, this feels very scientific because we're saying all these acronyms.
But everybody that is a searcher or a seeker and has a lot of curiosity is someone that will run into or discover or they'll look for answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because they've got questions. We want to understand our purpose, why we're here, where we're going, and where it started, where it ends, if it ends, all that kind of stuff. I remember in high school, I took world religions. I was always thinking to myself, okay, well, if we really take everybody seriously, then there's so many gods out there. All that makes me is very confused. I was like, okay, there's so many gods, and everyone's so certain. They all believe they only have the one God.
They figured it out. They've got a monopoly on the truth.
Right. But so many people have so much conviction in that this is what made me step away and go, well, I don't think I'm ever going to work that out in one lifetime.
Yeah.
I agree.
How
I was
can I
like,
ever unravel who is right?
yes,
So
it's a futile endeavor. That's kind of was my conclusion. Like, oh, you got all these people over the last 5,000 years since we've been writing down prolifically about this topic. There's
Yeah.
no consensus. I mean, there's pockets of consensus, but I just want to add so no one feels offended. I'm particularly interested in Nexium and Scientology because it also doesn't fit my stereotype of someone who would come under the sway of like a Jim Jones. Some of them I look at and I'm like, well, these are mouth-breathing dummies who got duped. The Nexium people were really critical thinkers. That one was the most curious to me. I wanted to figure out, how did this guy
Right.
convince these really bright and abled people to follow? And I figured it out.
Oh, you did? Well, please tell me.
So Keith Raniere, the most dubious, silly claims ever. Judo champ, IQ
Right.
of 250, not possible. I noticed when he's meeting Allison Mack, it's on video.
But his intentions were good, weren't they? He wasn't trying to dupe people, was he?
He was, because if you look at Abe prior to this, he already had a multi-level marketing company. And then ultimately the end goal was a sex cult where he was sleeping
Yes.
with everyone. Right. So I don't think he really had great intentions.
Well, certainly not. Or maybe his good intentions got
Yeah,
lost
power.
somewhere,
Well, he could have. That's
overpowered by his power.
And being adored is a very bizarre thing that you must be curious about it as well. I'm fascinated. But when he meets Allison Mack, she's very bright. She starts talking to him and she's got some questions. When she asks him the questions, he goes, "Oh, that's such a great question. Validate you. What do you think is the answer?" So now these are already bright people that want approval for also being bright from the brightest guy in the world. So he's a genius because he makes you
Absolutely.
answer the question. So you're coming up with the most plausible answer possible in your smartest brain. You lay it out and he goes, "That's great." So he never ever answered anything. He would force you to answer to impress him and you'd say the thing that made the most sense to you.
Absolutely.
It's genius.
It was
I
well
loved it.
documented, though, because you could really see it unraveling. You could start to see into his psyche and into his method. This is the problem is when we're looking back at these things that have been documented, we can see it. But in the moment, when you're in that
Yeah.
scenario, are we as vulnerable as the next guy of getting wrapped up in all of that? My go-to question in everything that I do anyway, when it comes to things that I am not an expert at, is who else believes this? I have to look for the pitfalls. If I need a knee operation, I'm not going to look at encyclopedias about knee operations from
Right.
from the 1800s or whatever they were documenting then about how to treat the knee. I need to know who the most current many
Yes.
Yeah.
State of the art.
specialists are doing.
Yes.
Agreed.
5's my number.
I like that.
I check 5 sources.
That you trust.
I don't try to go nuts and like check every source out there, but I'll go through 5 sources and go, okay, I'm going to find the highest common denominator of all these 5 sources.
You're waiting the best guess. Are you in the market for a knee procedure?
No.
Okay, I was just
You're
curious.
going to recommend someone?
I would love a shot at it.
My knees are actually great.
Okay, well, if they ever fail you, please let me get in there.
Trying to
My knees are
perform
still great.
surgeries these days.
I'd love to tinker around with those condyles and the femur.
He did an
and all-
ear surgery on me. Well, he cut out some earrings and he got a really big head about it.
Yeah. It's one of many procedures I've performed.
It went well.
Shania, it went more than well. It was the most rewarding thing because they were very.
Did you miss your calling?
They were very infected. Very.
They were infected. That's why they had to get out of
terribly
it.
infected.
Well, I wasn't like
When I got them
septic.
out, there was a very
Well,
rewarding.
There was a flow.
Yeah.
There was a big time
Everything
flush.
came out okay.
That's
yes,
right. That's right.
full evac, if you will. And it was
Evac, I got that one.
it was very rewarding. Probably more for me than you, even though all that pressure was relieved.
Right, because I didn't have to see it.
Yeah. Anywho,
Knee surgeries.
anything pops
get back.
up, you now know me.
Anything that pops up that needs to pop out.
Yes, I'll get in there and tinker around. I'm just offering that to you. Okay. I want to walk through the timeline a little bit because there's a particular zone of your life that fascinates me greatly. No one's going to relate to winning 5 Grammys that's listening to this. I mean, maybe someone's listening that has 5 Grammys, but odds are no, right? The things that people see themselves in you are these other things, and that's usually what I'm most interested in. But I would love to go through the timeline. First of all, you left Windsor. You're taken from Windsor to
Timmins.
Timmins. How far away is that from Detroit? I want to know how close we
That's
were.
probably a 12-hour drive.
Oh, it's that far north. It's really up there.
Yeah.
So you went from a town to like middle of nowhere.
Like a drive, I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, right.
Right.
At 2 years old, is that when?
I was born in Windsor. My mother was just visiting there.
Oh, she was on a holiday and had you.
And then we went back to Timmins.
Your parents got divorced when you were 2. Your stepfather, which arrives pretty soon, Jerry.
Oh, yeah. My stepfather arrives when I'm 4.
That's a good age. You're young enough.
Yes. That he's my dad in my mind.
Right. I love this. I just think it's cool how you refer to him. He's 100% Native American. You're not living on a reservation, though, are you?
No. We spent a lot of time on the reserve. We only had a few relatives living in town.
And what is the size of this town? Like 10,000
Oh.
people?
Oh, no, more than that.
Oh,
like
okay.
50,000.
That's very good size. Much bigger
yeah.
than mine.
And the reserve was where all of my dad's relatives
You
lived.
did like family reunion stuff there.
Yeah, go there in the summer, run around.
Is there a lake or anything?
Yeah, lakes everywhere.
Okay, do you have like a deep, deep connection to lakes as I do? They're indelibly linked to summer. So like, as soon as summer hits, I'm like, okay, I need to be next to a lake here in the next couple weeks. I'm going crazy if I don't. Do you have that kind of
Well, do you grow up with
affinity?
small lakes, or are you talking about the
Small-
Great Lake?
Well, of course, the
you're in
Great Lakes in
Detroit.
Michigan.
Yeah.
But no, my little area, you couldn't drive a mile in any direction and not hit a
Right,
lake,
so
right?
that's
Every
like us.
road is twisty-turny going around lakes. They're everywhere.
Same kind of topography. Lots of time in the water. Lots of bloodsuckers, literal bloodsuckers.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah,
A bunch.
I'm one of 5.
2 or 3 from the first marriage with your mother and then
Yeah, so we are 4 fathers.
quad dads.
Yes, quad dads. And there's 2 moms. So my oldest sister, her dad died in a car accident before she was born.
Oh.
My mother met my biological dad, then had 2 of us girls. And then my mother married my stepdad, who raised us, adopted us into Twain. And then they had a son together. And then we adopted my dad's nephew.
Whose sister died.
Yes, she committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
Wow.
the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that is our bunch.
Okay. Now, I'm going to be
Twain
projecting
gang.
too much, but the size of your town, the vibe that I saw in the documentary, you start performing at like 8 years old
Yeah.
in bars. And I too. So my father was a drunk. So when he had us on the weekends, we spent the entire weekend at the Dirty Duck Saloon.
But you were allowed to go in?
Yeah.
Why? Because they serve food? What was the law?
You're allowed to be in a bar with your parents. Saturdays had 25-cent chili dogs. So we would go at 10 a.m. to Dirty Duck, and my dad would give us as many quarters as we want to play Pac-Man that had just come out. We were in there for 12, 13 hours. And you're watching adults get progressively more and more confusing when you're young. You're like,
Yes.
oh my God, everyone's acting so weird. There's people fighting, and all this is happening.
So you totally know. You
Yes.
Like you're the first person I've ever met that actually has spent childhood
Too much time.
It can be a very intimidating environment.
It's a lot of things. It's
Yeah, it's
confusing.
confusing.
Why are they acting this? Why is
Yes.
that woman crying in public? Why
Yes.
is this guy screaming?
Right.
Why did that guy just throw a chair? You know, like you don't know what's coming. Like every 45
Yeah.
minutes, something kind of eventful unfolds.
It's true.
I think this is the not getting duped thing. I don't trust these adults. I got to really be on my P's and Q's
Yeah.
because they're unpredictable.
Yeah, you can't rely on them. So you become fiercely independent.
Yes. Which is a sword. It's got a good side and a bad side.
I think it's okay.
Wait,
yeah.
so you went to sing?
Yes. In Timmins, there's no performing arts school.
Yeah.
Not at the time, anyway. Maybe there is now, but certainly not when I was a kid. And even if there had been, we wouldn't have been able to afford to, to
Yeah.
go there. The only place to learn to be a performer were bars. I went to the Native Community Center. They had a stage there. They had a stage. They didn't have a stage, but I would go play the old age home, where my grandfather was.
Can you even imagine how cute these seniors thought the 8-year-old? People must have been clutching their heart.
I mean, some of them didn't even know I was there. It's like,
Yeah,
Well, sure, there's going to be those
it was actually interesting.
grab bag.
It was interesting to play at all these different types of audiences, but the bars were obviously the underregulated environment.
Can I add, the laws in Canada, or at least where you were at, you couldn't arrive till midnight when they stopped serving booze and then play till 1 if they wanted to hang out. So you actually entered the fray at peak inebriation.
Thank you for doing that research. This is the thing. It's midnight. You can't go in before that with your children.
Right.
Okay. So my mother would do all the research. She took it very seriously. She knew who was playing in town. She would go to the bar earlier on in the week and get me organized. And I was allowed to get up after last call. You're allowed to load your table up with last call. but
Right.
and you get, yeah.
Everyone's got their own mobile bar in front of
That's
them
it.
now. Yeah.
But they officially have to close the bar and stop taking money for and serving no more service. So everyone's got another good 2 hours left in
Oh
there
my
drinking. And this is my moment now to get up there on the stage. But everybody's obviously already drunk, and you can't even
Tempers
see
are starting
'cause
to flare
cigarette
up.
smoke is everywhere and fights. Oh my gosh. By the time I was a teenager, I had to engage in these fights. I'm like kicking people to keep them off the stage, and I'm
Probably calling out if
saving
someone
my
needs help.
life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sure you were getting harassed.
get over
That's like,
here.
yes, like trying to pull people apart. By the time I'm a teenager, I'm no longer intimidated by any of this. I'm so prepared for a world that I would never need, in fact. So by the time I got to Nashville, I'm like, wow, nothing scares me.
Yes. Okay.
Nothing scary here.
Great. Oh, I want to pause right there on this ride because there's something really profound about that. Have you had a hard time transitioning into the notion that the world's actually pretty darn safe and nice and pretty generous?
Yes, I really had to do that. I was a little bit of a wildcat. Most people just refer to me as a fighter. I'm not really a fighter. I'm somebody that can manage.
You excel
I'm
in
ready
chaos.
to manage.
Yes.
I've been in situations that I shouldn't have been in many times early on in my life, and I know what to do.
Yeah.
But I'm no longer naive by the time I'm 10. I'm not naive. I
Yeah.
know exactly what's coming.
You're like home from your third
I'm
tour of
yeah.
Vietnam. You're like, you've seen it all.
I know what's coming. I know when to run. I know where to hide. I know when to defend, whatever that is.
Was your mom like in the corner watching you perform and also seeing chaos? What was your mom thinking during? And were you like,
Was she
Mom, is
slamming,
this bad?
helping people slam the drinks?
My mother was not a drinker.
Oh, that's
and neither was my
helpful.
father. They weren't there getting drunk. They weren't
Right.
there for that. They were there to support me as the entertainer. They were serious.
Yeah.
Like I was a little athlete or something. They were
Right.
taking
And I don't
me
say this to
my
embarrass
hockey
you,
game.
but also they needed the money.
Well, they needed me to make it. I was their hope. Let's put it that way.
If you made $20, which you did.
Yeah, it went to the groceries or to gas money, always.
Yeah. Okay, so because I saw the world that way, it
Right.
took me, like I had been brainwashed and had to go through some de-brainwash. It took me years to accept, oh no, a good chunk of the world's really nice.
Right. That civilized is not normal somehow.
Yes, that's what I thought. And then, of course, trust.
Sure.
I don't
of course.
trust anybody. Is trust hard for you?
Yeah.
Even if you love somebody, right?
I mean, I do think that nobody's perfect. So somebody will always fail you somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
I will fail someone along the line. But that's not really a matter of trust. That's more a matter of being realistic about what we are capable of as human beings and accepting that we will let each other down sometimes. For me, it's all about intentions.
Yeah,
What
I was
are
going to
your
say there's a
intentions?
difference between failing someone and betraying someone.
Exactly.
Right.
What are your intentions? And that's the same thing about any spiritual groups or anything like that. For me, it's more about determine whether you're a follower or a leader.
Are you waiting for a friend to knock on the door and say, let's go to this place? Or are you the person that knocks on your friend's door and say, let's go to this place? It's a simple decision. You're one of those two people growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely someone that is so solitary anyway. I didn't have friends knocking on my door saying, you want to go somewhere?
Right. Well, you had a
And I
gig every
wasn't
night.
knocking on anyone's door either. I'm very independent in that sense. I spent a lot of time alone and really enjoyed it because I had this creative outlet.
Yes.
And I really indulged in that. I was like,
You
I
lived in
really
it.
love living in my own creative, like I'm in my own thing and
Yeah.
I don't really want to come out of that. I love it here in this, escapism.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to the being able to love
following-
somebody
oh,
but
yeah.
not trust them.
Can you love someone that you don't trust?
Yes. We love Jerry, right? He was a fucking stand-up guy. He took on 2 little girls that weren't his. He gave you guys his name. He was a provider. He worked hard. And he also hit mom.
Yep, you're right.
Same, right? I have men in my life, all of a sudden they're hitting my mom. You've got all these examples of people loving each other and then being absolutely cruel to one another. That's what you're presented as this is life on earth. Even the people you love, you got to keep a little bit of apprehension around or you might
No.
end up getting hit by them.
No, I think there's clarity there for me. As a child, I loved him for the good in him. I can't even say that I ever hated him. I was afraid of him and I was confused about his ability, this Jekyll and Hyde thing. It's like, I do not know how to handle that.
And you got to get really good at predicting when Hyde's coming out.
Yeah, you get very good at that. And you get very good at masking yourself as well. Are you going to play a mind game with this person to get to calm him down?
Are you going to placate him, flatter him?
That's it. Or do you just have to throw a chair over his head to like,
Right. Is it time to fight one-on-one?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's obviously very unhealthy for anyone. But there was no confusion in my own mind as far as how I saw him. He was just not well.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
right.
now that I'm an adult, because I never talked about this ever in my life before to any friends or anything.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, never.
Because you were ashamed of it?
No, in my own mind, I'm just not there anymore.
I got you.
I'm not there anymore. He's not alive anymore. And I mean,
compartmentalized.
Hold on.
let's just,
I'm going to try to
you
poke a
know.
hole in it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the motivations might be
Go
it's
ahead.
just too vulnerable for you. You got to be tough.
No, I don't feel that way. If I want to grow, but I'm afraid, and that's where the fear comes in, the vulnerability comes in, but you still got to move. You can't look down and you can't look back.
Right.
Not in that moment, because you are not necessarily above falling. You're not necessarily above losing your equilibrium. You're not necessarily above getting dragged and pulled down by it. So I think it's more about setting yourself up for success in those situations and being able to grow through them. I know it sounds probably abrupt to say, well, just get over it, but I do think sometimes you just do have to.
I think the nice way we could say it
Move
is
on.
you cannot allow yourself to be arrested for the rest of your life from something that was out of your control and unfortunate. You cannot stop your forward momentum because of it.
That's it. I don't have to keep resetting every time I look at it.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
But let me ask you this. What is your overall feeling about someone pitying you or feeling bad for you?
This is sort of what brought more confusion to the way I talk about it, because Oprah was the first person to say this to me.
Who's that?
We started talking about it a little bit. I have a lot of respect for this man who really did sacrifice a lot, to feed us whatever it was that we ate half the time, which was definitely not enough. Whatever those dysfunctions were, he was doing his best. I really believed that.
You have
always.
compassion for him.
Of course I do.
And gratitude.
Because I did believe that he was unwell. I could see that very clearly. So as a kid, that's where I was not confused.
Well, that's helpful that you didn't just
I
think
could
this
see
is
it.
yes. Because you
I
could
could
have maybe
recognize
met
it.
another person and been like, oh, all men are just like this.
Or
'Cause
you,
it's-
No.
he- yeah.
recognize it wasn't a choice 100%.
I didn't take it personally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly did not.
That's
Yes.
nice.
I was a target. I knew that.
Yeah.
I never understood why, but it didn't really matter. Even now, it's not really relevant to me, because when I look at the whole family dynamic, we were all victims in our own way, including him. Everyone's suffering,
Yeah,
okay?
no
And
one's-
I'm sorry, but I can see that. And so when I get someone that says to me, oh my God, no, that guy was a monster.
Did Oprah say that? Wait, what did Oprah say?
Well, she's like, how can you love this guy? What do you mean you love this guy? What do you mean you respect this
Oh, I
person?
get that for sure.
I know. And I'm like, shit, I think people are going to think I'm a real weirdo.
Or that you have like
Because-
Stockholm syndrome or something.
Yeah. And I said, wait, if he were around now, I would absolutely sit him down and I would address this.
Right. You need some assistance.
It's not like I would be
Yeah,
this
arms wide
passive
open.
person
yeah,
and
accepting
say,
it.
I would not leave my grandchild with him.
Right.
Of course not.
Right.
I would explain myself. I would say all of those things. When we're looking at it now, we're talking about somebody that's no longer here that I cannot address.
Yep.
But if I could address him, I would still be able to honestly tell you that I would be able to sit there and go, okay, you are not well. You need help and you are not capable of raising a child without getting some sort of help, or maybe not at all. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what it would be
Right.
like now, because he was definitely one of the most generous people I'd ever known.
Yeah.
He was very giving to everyone. He always shared with everyone, even when we had so little. He was one of those very genuine people that would give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah. He adopted his nephew.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I don't hate that person.
no,
Sorry.
I'm with you.
I just don't.
There's room to be disappointed in someone, absolutely love them, hate things about them, and adore them and respect them.
I'm not in denial about he had a real issue.
You're not defending that.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm not in denial that I was a victim of that as a child. As a child, you are a victim. You're in prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have no escape from that. Your option is go tell somebody, and then now you're separated.
Betray
you can
the
betray
people
your
that
family.
you love.
Yep.
Because you love them.
That's it. See?
Yeah.
You
can
still
make
love them.
your mother's life even harder, which you're already, I'm sure.
The whole point is to
codependent
protect
and-
her.
Yes. You're probably already terrified about what
That's it.
mom's going through.
Exactly. And they're going
Yeah.
to get in trouble.
But at some
and
point,
you don't know where you're going to end
you,
up.
you talk her into going to a homeless shelter in Toronto. It did get that serious.
Yes. So at 13, I realized at that point that it was a miracle that one of them had not died already. The violence was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
yeah,
out of
yeah.
control. And I'm thinking, I'm afraid to leave the house. This is crippling me. One of the kids could get hit and hurt, or
permanently.
when I'm not here. I felt like this defender all the time. And many times, he would choke her in the night as well.
Oh, boy.
So it was like in the morning, I'd be like, oh man, is she going
my
to be alive, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm old enough now. I can
advocate for
probably do
yourself.
something. I'm going to try to convince her to drive the car, pack the kids. And now it's just out of school. We have the summer ahead of us. He's at work. Give my mom a coffee and a cigarette in bed. Let her get her head together. She was so feeble at this point. She was vacant enough.
She was completely disassociated, I'm sure, from her life. Yeah.
And I was her confidant anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
At this point, like I'm the one she's talking to about the only way out of this is to kill him. Right. And I'm going, okay, maybe let's try to find another way, Mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
You're
and
in
I would say
prison
to
and
him,
he's dead.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail for the rest of your life. Then what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Right.
So these are the kind of conversations I'm having with my poor
At
mother.
13.
Yeah.
Totally. Earlier, she was
Like
talking this way for a
11
long
and
time.
12.
Yeah.
Did you have a boyfriend at any point during
No,
this?
not at this time. No.
No, okay.
So I say to my mom, get in the car. And then it's the most suspenseful moment, I think, in my life. She gets behind the wheel and the kids are in the back seat, the three of them, and they've got my grandmother's clock on their lap. We had to take it.
Yeah.
And I told I'm like, Mom, don't worry, I got grandma's clock. I mean,
Right.
and so I'm in the front seat beside her and she says, I got to go back in.
Oof.
I'm like, oh my God, fuck. She's going to change her mind. She goes back in, and probably about 3 minutes later, she comes back out. I'm like, oh, thank God. And then, what was that? Why did you do that? She goes, I just couldn't leave without leaving a note. I said, well, what did you say? She said, I just told him that I was sorry it didn't work out.
Wow.
And I don't know. I mean, it was just one of those love stories that, you know,
It's
that I could never
heartbreaking.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
is
It broke my heart.
Yeah,
It broke my heart for her.
There's just a trajectory you can't not be on. Her
They loved each
self-esteem,
other.
sure, but her
You know?
self-esteem had become so fucking crippled, and she's so disappointed in herself, and she's so disappointed this is happening in front of her kid. I mean, there's so much shame and self-loathing.
I can't imagine even
No.
you know, what she would have been thinking, but her love was the only clarity that she kind of could muster at that moment, that it was a true love, you know?
Yep.
And I think that does happen to a lot of people that just can't get out of a toxic, dangerous relationship.
Well, they'll feel like that's
Sometimes
the only thing they have in their life is
Yeah.
this love. And now they're going to get rid of that last thing they have is very
Yes.
scary.
And the whole reason that they stayed tortured all this time.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like that's a very hard thing to let go of. It's
Oh,
like, shit,
yeah.
I stayed all this time. We all went through all this shit together. And now I'm actually,
yeah, it's almost admitting
Walking
it's
away.
not
Yes.
worth it. It wasn't,
It wasn't
worth
worth it. Yeah.
you have
That's
to admit that's a big
so
admittance.
hard.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so
And of course, we didn't
powerful.
know where we were going. So, you know, thankfully we did find a shelter.
Yeah.
Good old yellow pages in a phone booth.
When you were talking to Oprah and you said, you know, I really do think he did his best. I think that's the hardest thing for a person to get to. Also the most liberating thing, which
Yeah.
is that person honestly did their best and it wasn't enough for me, but they did their best. I think if you
Yeah.
can get to the point where you're like, no, both things are true. They're doing their best and it's not enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where love comes in. If you really do love someone, you will find not an excuse, but the
Some
true
grace.
purpose of why you nurtured that bond, why that bond meant something to you. And I just would not throw that away. I think that it was valuable. And it was valuable to me. I did have a father that did look out for me in a lot of ways.
Also, the bipolarity. I'm guessing that on the opposite side of the violence was him feeling so bad and trying to win you back over. So these really heightened, kind expressions, was there that bouncing back and forth?
I don't know, I didn't understand those conditions when I was younger. Now I'd have to really reflect on both of their behaviors to try to understand. My mother had more swings. I think hers were more circumstantial. It was like Christmas every time there was groceries. And
Yeah,
that was like
cloud
once a
nine.
month, once every 2 months.
Yeah.
And now everyone's in a good mood. But well, of course.
Yeah.
But
My mother's like, wow, my kids can eat. Is that being bipolar? Is that what is that?
what I mean is like the reason those relationships can be so addicting is that the highs are also very heightened because it's someone trying to win back your love and trust. So there's someone putting 200% effort in. So the highs are fucking high. The lows are very low. But your average dad who's just like, he kind of sucks at this, but he's not bad. He's also not kind of great. Like there's no, oh, I got to take everyone out and make this big show of how much I love them and prove to them and win them back. That part is also appealing.
I don't think he fits that description.
Okay, great. I accept that. Okay, ultimately, so this is what I want to fast forward to. So you're 21, they both die in a car accident?
Yep.
They were back together, obviously, post. Yeah. You're already en route. You've already been performing since you were 8. You were on TV at 13 years old. You are now starting to record. You're making it happen. They die. You stop everything. You go back home and you now take responsibility for these children. And you see this through to their adults.
Wow.
This is fucking nuts. And this is what I'm really curious about. Did you feel in that time frame, and I know you were supporting them by performing at a local resort.
Yeah.
You were doing the thing you want to do, but did you just feel like tick-tock, like I'm missing my boat? Because you're 28 by the time that ends, right? Were you just in this panic of time?
I totally accepted it because I never wanted to be a performer.
You didn't.
No, I just wanted to sing and write for myself.
You weren't even thinking about a career or this or that.
Not in music. I definitely was more inclined to be in engineering or in architecture, something like that. I did it for my mother because she believed I was talented right from the age of 3. She could hear all of this. Storytelling, music, crazy about it. Obsessed. And I don't know whether it was a chicken or the egg story where maybe if they wouldn't have put me in the bars with all the drunks and strippers at 8 years old, midnight when I had school the next day, maybe if I hadn't started my performing career there, maybe I would never have developed this cringy feeling. Right?
Associating.
So this cringy feeling of like, oh, I don't even know where to look.
Yeah.
When I'm up there and having to mask the way I feel to connect with everybody was definitely a trippy thing.
Yeah, that's some juggling there.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I'm up here, I'm smiling, and I'm
You
a
guys
little
are all
professional.
terrifying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're breathing on me and you smell and it's horrible. And it's possible that this stage fright thing, this resentment for being in the spotlight started there.
You associated that with that feeling for you.
I guess if I were a psychiatrist, if I were qualified to assess myself, I
Yeah.
would say that maybe that was a good possibility.
Yeah.
Right. That sounds logical.
So when my mother died, I'm like, I'm stopping this.
Because in some way you were doing it for her.
I was totally doing the performance thing for her.
Right.
It got a little more attractive in my teens because now I'm making some side money. My parents aren't buying me my clothes. They're not buying me any of this. I'm just doing this myself
You're supporting
Yeah.
yourself
now.
fully.
Yeah, it was very, very helpful. And I did all kinds of other jobs too, but I was able to...
Reforesting project. carrying
Reforesting.
logs
Oh my
with the
gosh,
dog.
all the
Yeah,
reforesting
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That was very, very good
That's
money
where your
as well.
sturdy build comes from.
Yeah, no, yes.
I know.
I'm definitely way too much labor as a child. You know way too much about me. So that was a summer job. And then the weekend night job was the bars. They were Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they were the whole night because now I'm allowed to be in there.
Right.
Okay. But my day job after
Oh, yeah, and the
school was
drinking age then
McDonald's.
is 19.
In Canada, it was 18 at the time.
Oh, it
I
was
believe.
18, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't drinking anyway. I was way too serious of a professional by then.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Far
Too
beyond.
type A to have a drink.
Way too serious for my own self. So my mom does, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm going to write songs. I'm going to make music for myself, but I'm going to get educated. But the realization was by the time the kids are old enough, all of my other friends are going to be finished university. That's the window that I missed.
That was the TikTok you
It was
felt
the
like,
moment
oh my
that
God,
if I'm going to shift careers,
to something.
that was the window. The only thing I know how to do now that I'm 25 is this. So I'm going to give it a go.
I'm really glad you missed your window to go to college.
My best friend's very happy
Yes.
about it.
And I even called my friend when my parents died. I said, oh my God, I'm getting out of here as fast as I can. I just need to run away from all of this agony and I don't want music anymore. I just need to go somewhere else. But what happened was my brothers, because they were still minors, they would have needed to go into foster care.
Right.
It was me or nobody because my older sister already had children and no relatives were able to take both of them together.
Oh,
Right.
geez.
So they'd be split up if you didn't.
I couldn't even bear that thought.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, the 4 of us will move in together. So the only job that I could get with only music skills, my friend says, let's go check out this resort. It really pays well. And it did. I
Yeah.
paid well enough that I could get a mortgage
Yeah,
and
but-
buy a
Wow.
house.
Yeah.
So college just never did happen.
Okay, 2 things. I know you've been objectified your whole life, so I hesitate to tell you this, but when you were blowing your nose, I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything as cute out of a outside of a Disney cartoon. Like what just happened was the cutest thing I've ever seen. I could watch you blow your nose for the next 3 hours.
With my little
You're in the middle.
blanket that you gave. I'm talking and blowing my nose like an old lady,
Yes,
right?
I know. I loved it. It
It's
was
like the
so
way your grandmother would
cute.
blow your nose
Look
and
like a
talk.
cartoon character.
Oh, it's so cute.
Okay, so you get your way down to Nashville and you get a contract and you record your first album, which
Yep.
critics like financially it doesn't work out. It's not
And this is your
commercially.
It's not gonna
28,
change
is
the
that what you
world.
said?
Are you 28
How old
then?
are
This
you?
is 92.
Now I'm 27,
Okay.
26, maybe.
93 is your first album. And let me do some fast
Yeah,
math.
do that.
I'm going to do
He
that.
loves
Oh,
math.
okay. Yeah.
No,
You-
because
you-
my first Diamond album, I was
You were 28. I won't say our age gap, but I'll tell you I know exactly what happened to me in 93. And so I know that you were 28. Okay, so you're 28, your first album.
No, 28, my first hit album.
No. 93 is
How
your
could I turn
is your
those around so
self-titled
fast? Maybe
album.
recorded.
95 is Woman in Me.
Oh, okay.
95, I'm going to tell you, it's quite
You know,
easy
see, you
math.
know me better than I do.
You're 30.
You have it right. Thank you.
Defer to me if you want to know about you. Okay?
I know. I've learned that today.
Feel
can
free to
trust
text
me.
him
I love- I
anytime.
You
love
can
it.
trust me, kinda. Okay, so I want an explanation from your perspective. You go from commercially unviable to your next album is 20 million copies. You meet Mutt Lange. He's a rock and roll producer. He wants to work with you. A couple months later, you're married. And you write this
Yeah.
insane album together.
Yes.
Wow, what a
That's
whirlwind.
like you stepped on TNT and someone just hit the plunger and radical change overnight, right? Both romantically, professionally.
Yes.
That's a big year.
It was like this buildup of me writing for so many years.
In the first album, they didn't really include you in the way
Not
they
at
should have,
all.
right?
No, my songs were rejected, but I didn't take it personally because I've got nowhere else to go. I've got nothing to go back to. That's where the don't
And
look
it-
down, don't look back. When I went to that town after what I came from, so talking about the 20 years prior, I get there and I'm like, you can't scare me.
Right. Yeah.
I am unintimidatable.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just no intimidating me. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm going to be okay. You can't insult me out of here. There were a couple of fabulous people that really were kind and believed in my talent when I first got to town.
Okay, yeah.
That's all I needed. I didn't need a hit record right out of the box. I could already live on nothing. No worries.
Right.
I'm not afraid. I guess I would say that he's the one that really did discover me.
He saw that you had a knack for songwriting that had been being overlooked at that point.
Totally. When he got me on the phone, he said, I just want to ask. He says, first of all, I love your voice. I think you have a lot of Karen Carpenter qualities to your voice, which I was very complimented by because
Of course.
she was one of my big vocal mentors growing up.
Also had a gravitas. There was some pain in there. There was
Absolutely. Yes. He's the first person that had told me that, but I knew myself. I knew that was in there as part of my
Also, I
style.
want to add, you're not someone who learned to play guitar 5 minutes ago. You've at this point been playing for 20 years. You're already at this stage. Most people are like 8 years in. You're 20 years into it. So you fucking know yourself at this point.
That's my songwriting buddy. You know, my guitar is my companion. So his first question is, do you write songs? Because I only like to work with writers. I'm like, yes, I absolutely write.
Your eyes are darting left and right,
Yeah,
just
I'm
for
like,
the
I'm
listener.
so glad you're asking me. You actually care that I write. I was really,
Yeah.
really happy about
You felt
that.
seen immediately.
Very much. He's like, can you sing me a few little bits? Sure.
Over the horn.
Over the phone. When you could still put it on its side, you know?
Yeah. When it was an appliance.
Yeah. And I played him a few things. He goes, oh, I love what I'm hearing. I'd love you to come to London. And he's like, you know, I want to know if we're a good match.
Yeah.
You know, if we can actually write together.
This is kind of a salacious question, maybe. Was he already loaded? Because he was already successful.
He was already very successful. I mean, he certainly didn't need
Okay,
you know,
great.
to take on a new artist.
I gotta imagine that's appealing. Not like you're.
Well,
not-
steady.
Oh, well, wait. But this is a good point. I did not know who he was yet,
Okay.
which was so great for me. I admitted I would have found out.
Ignorance was a gift at this point.
It was because my manager, like me, we're both from tiny little towns. She's from a town of like 9,000 people or something, not too far from my little town of
She's seen some
50,000
bar
people.
bottles break on people's
Oh
heads.
my gosh, yeah, a singer herself. She's the one that gets this request from A&R at my label. Mutt Lange would like to talk to your artist. And she's like Mutt Lang. She has no idea. And she doesn't think to research it.
Well, also,
in fairness to her,
the
it wasn't
internet's
like a
not,
Google.
she
Yeah.
can't
Wasn't
pick
a
up her
quick-
phone.
No.
Right. She
Quick
had to gone to the
Google.
library.
Yeah, she knows
Microfiche.
nothing about his music. She knows
Right.
nothing about any of that. She's not into that scene at all. So she just says, there's a guy with a funny name. How do you want me to answer? And I said, Mutt. Yeah, that's definitely a strange name. I said, why don't I just send him a signed autograph?
Oh my God.
And you guys, I am not kidding.
Oh my
I
God.
love this.
Because she goes, he doesn't do country. I said, well, what the hell good is this going to do us?
Yeah.
And he lives in England. I'm like, I'm trying to hold on to my record deal right now.
Yeah.
So I send him, I put MUT, which is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's MUTT. I should have known that.
Sure. Well, you know.
Well,
you
I'm
were
dyslexic.
busy. Yeah.
I cannot
Me too,
get
me
any
too,
spelling
me too.
right.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm dumb, okay? But I
Right.
did put MUT.
By the way, in our defense, dyslexics, what the fuck do we need that second T for?
Yeah, it's
Why do we need
unnecessary.
two?
It doesn't make any
No,
sense.
we're right about this.
That's it.
Yes, fuck all these people with two
That's
T's.
exactly right. Oh my God, I know.
Yeah, give it a
So
honk.
I'm
Let
so
me
there.
give it a nice honk.
I'm there.
I love it. I want to
know,
see your
I know,
honk
I
a little
know.
more.
No, no.
Okay.
Did I?
No,
No,
but
you
I want
didn't.
you
You
to.
didn't.
No,
Yeah.
He's
not
just
gonna.
waiting for a
I
honk.
I want to
I'm blowing
see.
the nose.
Yes, I wanted to see the Disney
I
character
just blew
again.
the nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like remember one of the dwarfs was Sneezy.
Yes.
Yes, it's got a
Got it.
Sneezy vibe. Yeah.
I probably look kind of dwarfy with my fur.
do,
You're
you-
associating me with that because I'm in blue and I've got little white
Yes.
fur
Very
and I'm
nice.
blowing my nose.
Yes,
Okay.
it's adorable.
And I look like it's got a blanket.
Yeah, you got a little blankie and your little tissue. We're talking about trauma.
Exactly. It's so cozy. All this trauma talk. Okay, so I honestly don't know who this is. Days go by, weeks go by. And she goes, just maybe call the guy. He sounds really nice. She spoke to him in the interim. Still doesn't know who he is. And he's a very humble guy. He would never have told her.
He wouldn't have assumed
No,
that
he would-
everyone knew. And
No, he would have assumed.
okay, he should.
This is the thing.
assume.
He would have assumed that someone at the label would have said, hey, Mary, or the manager would have known. I finally call him back. I'm on the phone with him. He's got this sort of British, South African accent.
Oh.
Then he says, I'll play you some of the stuff I'm working on right now. I'm in the studio. And so he plays me these tracks, and I fall on the floor.
They're so good.
Oh man.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm talking to a genius.
This is what I think. This guy needs to work with my songs. I'm like, oh my God. I am so excited, right? There's no artist on it. It's just a track. And he must have been dying on his side because I'm like, this is so amazing.
You're going to be big.
Oh, like honestly,
You're actually talented.
this is my tone. So then I get off the phone. I'm talking to Mary. I'm like, Mary, he plays me some of his stuff. I cannot believe it. I have to work with this guy. It's not country, I said. But he told me that his favorite instrument is the steel guitar. I'm sure that we could make our own sound. She tells me we're going to be at this big fan event in Nashville that happens once a year. She said he's going to be here because he's going to be writing with Bryan Adams.
Oh boy.
And I'm like,
wait, what?
wow, he's going to be writing with Bryan Adams.
This is so fun. This is like a romantic comedy. Yeah, like
And I'm
you meet
thinking-
a guy in a cab.
So now I'm thinking, wow, I would love to meet Bryan Adams. Okay, so we get there, and, fellow Canadian, I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
I still have no idea that Mutt's who Mutt is. I meet Mutt at FanFest, and it's the most warm welcome. It was beautiful, beautiful meeting.
Are you in love with him immediately when you see him?
I'm in love with him as a person.
Yeah.
I'm not
Attracted
wrong. Yeah.
to him.
To him as a person, absolutely. Yeah, it was a very strong attraction. So he says, listen, I'm doing my writing in the hotel room. Do you want to come there and let's try out some writing? Because I think it would be a good idea if we could know whether we're compatible as writers or not. Now I start hearing him working on Everything I Do, which is the song for the film. Three Musketeers?
Yeah. Everything I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
No, it's not in the movie yet. I'm
Yeah.
You hear it
hearing
for the
it
first
come
time, yeah.
together. Yeah, I'm hearing the song
Wow.
come together.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
holy shit, this is like incredible.
Can I pause you for one
Yeah.
second?
This is
You know why I love
hilarious.
this story is like if this all happened in 2018, you wouldn't be on this mystery tour.
Yeah.
Like you're on this road of discovering this incredible thing. It's so fun. Now you would just walk into it knowing everything. There's something storybook-esque about slowly learning.
The slow rollout.
Yes, is really wonderful.
And it was just because we were so detached. The music that I listen to, I know the music inside out. I know every note. I know everything. But I do not look at the technical side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to his room. I'm reluctant because I'm like, this is a
hotel
little
room
bit
is a
weird.
little
Mary
weird, yeah.
waits outside.
Sure,
all of
sure.
that because I'm like, I don't know. I just don't even know who is lovely, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I'm getting
It's
into a
a
room with
hotel
him.
room.
Well, you
Yeah.
have your spidey senses from your whole life, so it's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not naive about that part. So
Right.
Mary waits outside. It was very brief. We both got our guitars out. It felt very natural and easy. He goes, okay. So it calls me up another week later. Can you come to London? Let's sit down and really write. But he says, don't tell anyone because I'm not in country. So maybe it will not really go over very well at your label if they know you're writing with a non-country writer. And I got that. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. And besides, maybe we won't even come up with anything. So no point alarming anyone. I mean, within 2 visits, we wrote that whole Woman in Me album.
Wow. And 2 visits.
Yeah, because I had been building up all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he was also so ready to write country music. We were both very primed for this.
Yeah.
Only the second visit, he tells me all of the albums that he had produced.
Oh my!
And-
you still
and-
didn't
and written all the
know
songs.
till the
You know why?
second-
Because I didn't ask. Because
Can
I
I-
thought
it's good you didn't.
Well, I got a hunch why.
I just thought it would be weird.
I would have been afraid it would have exposed me for being a novice that had no business being there. Were you afraid maybe to seem like I should know this, so I'm just not going to ask?
I just thought I already know about Brian. I'm like a nobody. And I'm thinking all I got to do is get through the songwriting. If he loves what I'm doing, hopefully he'll eventually want to produce it if he loves it, if it's good enough for him, you know, I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not consuming myself with the rest. He's already passed the test. It's not like I need to know his credit.
Yeah.
Right.
I already think
You're basing
even
it
if
on his
that's
skill level. It doesn't really matter.
And Brian Adams. Like
yes,
if that's
Brian
it.
Adams plus his skill level, you're in.
And I would never have imagined anyway what it was. It was everyone that I had ever admired. Obviously, the Waking Up Neighbors album. Billy Ocean, a lot of people don't know that he did that album.
really?
And that was my favorite album of Billy
Oh, I
Ocean.
love Billy
he did the
Ocean.
Cars. I loved
Oh,
that
the car-
album.
yes.
I mean, he did the AC/DC stuff.
Oh my
I mean, come
God.
on. The biggest Journey stuff.
How
and
much
the biggest
older?
Def Leppard.
How much older was he?
He's 14 years older.
Okay.
So the next problem is, what do I say to the label? Because he's like, okay, well, I think we have such strong stuff. I could probably be involved with the production, but I couldn't be there as a front name because I don't think your label is going to like this idea because I'm a nobody in country music. So I go to the guy that is a pop from the pop world, and this is Luke Lewis, and I say, I need to tell you what I've been doing all these weeks. And I don't know if you're going to like it. I'm already on the edge. My first album didn't come through like Billy Ray Cyrus's did. We were all at the same time. So Billy Ray Cyrus broke out like major. Toby Keith broke out major, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, well, what? All I know is that if you want to keep your deal, you better be coming up with some really good stuff. You better have been writing. I said, well, I'm working with Mutt Lange, and I know he's not country. And Luke's just like, are you serious? That's the best news you could have ever told me.
Oh, that's great. So totally.
He was so happy
supportive.
about it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
oh gosh, okay, great. Because I'm not sure how I'm going to convince everybody else that it's a good idea. What Mutt thought was, let us just make the album because we're so far into this now.
Yeah, just make it.
And then let them hear before the mix. And then if they turn it away, we'll work something out after that. And that's what we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
so
then
we
it
just
sold
did
20 million copies and you won a Grammy.
Oh,
And then you guys got to work on the third album, and then the third album sells 40 million copies, which is the most albums ever sold by a female artist ever.
Still.
And
Wow.
the biggest country album of all fucking time, Monica.
That's amazing.
Okay, now
It was a
here's,
dream, yeah.
here's my curiosity. Because I'm learning all this about you. I don't know all this stuff about you before I'm meeting you, right? And I'm walking around with this
The
knowledge
numbers
about
and
you.
stuff.
Yeah. And I immediately think, oh no, it's so awesome, but also that would terrify me. So 0 sales, 20 million, 40 million records, now 5 Grammys. I'm scared. You're young. Where does it go? Life is long. Did you feel that pressure of like, how the fuck am I going to sustain this impossible success?
Well, when the first album went diamond, I was already thinking, well, this is as big as it gets. This actually took the pressure off. I'll back up just a little bit. So Luke Lewis calls me on the phone and says, I just want to give you an update. Some good news on the record sales.
Good news.
Some good news is at the very beginning of The Woman in Me. He goes, first, just for fun, how many albums do you think it's sold so far? I said, is it good at least? He goes, yeah, it's really good. I said, okay, well, the biggest album right now in country music is Reba McEntire's. And that sold, I think it was 3 million. So I'm thinking, okay, well, he says it's good news. So I said, okay, 1 million. It was already at something ridiculous, like 10.
Oh my God. Is there a physical wash that comes over your body when you hear that news? Like, is that too much to compute? Is it like neurological storm firing?
I was just, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting him to say that. That is Diamond.
10 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's why that was a big celebratory moment. And then I don't know, it went
You
on to
double
sell
diamond.
more.
Yeah, double diamond.
And I'm thinking, frig. This is as big as it gets.
You grew up in a fucking bar. You can't say fuck.
I know. I do.
No, but I like
I swear a
frig.
lot, but I say frig a lot too.
Okay.
And frickin's a good one too. Friggin. Or frick.
Frickin'
freak.
Yeah,
frack.
frick.
Frickin'
Yeah,
frack.
that's it.
Okay.
All of those work.
Any hard F, yeah.
And
Yeah, that'll get you there.
So it's so far out of what I thought was in reach
Yes.
that I'm good. As long as I just keep doing well, why would I expect myself to get another one? Because now that's like Michael Jackson level.
Yes.
Right.
You're at Michael
Like,
Jackson
that's
level.
like-
Yeah.
Getting way out
Shania
there.
sold 100 million
That's so-
albums.
That's so amazing.
But then that one goes diamond too. Now, again, same thing. I'm thinking, well, of course, 2 double albums. What else can I ask for? But then the third one also goes diamond. So the 3 diamonds
Yes.
It's amazing.
consecutively put me somewhere where now I'm just having
No
fun.
fear. You didn't get fearful at all. Oh, wow. I'm so happy to hear that. I would have been a mess, I think.
Because I'd already been through that. It's like I've already been through almost getting dropped because I'm not quite there. I went
Yeah.
through, oh my God, I know that Mud is a genius, but because it's a genre that is so fenced in a little bit about outside.
Especially
Yeah.
then.
It's a little
influence.
us and them, yeah.
Now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What,
yeah.
start over in pop? Probably not. I was already going on 30.
Yeah.
Honestly, there were other things to worry about, like my stage fright, getting out there and being in the spotlight with all of this commotion. So I skipped out on that on the first album. I didn't go out until the next.
There was some backlash about it being a pop mix. There was a lot of objectification and scrutinizing of how you dressed, that you were too sexy for this. You shook that fucking town up. And I think the old guard probably was like, oh, hold on. Well, she's not doing it right. People said some gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
Did it bother you? Or are you like, fuck that? Look at
No,
these diamonds.
this is where the arsenal of,
yeah. You're
you know.
expecting them to come for you a
The
little bit.
armor. Yeah.
and I wasn't doing it on purpose anyway. I wasn't trying to piss them off. I was just thinking every other music genre in the world embraces fashion, and Dolly Parton too. Like Dolly Parton's one of the sexiest females on the planet, and totally unapologetically. I didn't even realize it was a big deal to show the belly button, but I was treated like I was naked.
Right, I
You know,
know.
like they responded.
Every other music genre, people were almost naked.
Yeah.
No, totally.
You
I'm
were
like-
conservative by MTV
Yeah. Oh, God,
standards.
yeah.
So I felt like they were shaming me,
Yeah.
but I didn't care.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
That was really, really exceptional, and I appreciate it. I did have one quick question because it's been presented in so many ways through television. It seems insane to me, the residency. Because, A, you live in Switzerland, that's the polar opposite of Nevada. There's a lot of caveats, in my opinion. It's like you go to work at night, that's weird. You're in a casino all the time, that's kind of weird and disorienting. You're in the middle of the desert, that's probably not your chosen spot. What is the experience of committing to a couple years there? And how do you approach it mentally? Is it a...
So exhausting.
I love the stability of it. So one thing I didn't have when I was a child was stability in even location. By the time I graduated from high school, I had been to 17 schools.
Oh my God.
Always new friends or no friend. I was like the almost
Yeah.
no friend person.
Well, what's the point if you're going to move again in a month?
We just moved around a lot. And then I do become this successful entertainer, performer, and I got to move around and travel and do all that. So Vegas is a lovely break from that.
Right. You're in one place, you can nest, you have a routine.
Yep. I indulge in it, man. I love it. I've got my horses there.
Oh, great.
I ride out in the desert.
Oh, wonderful.
I
You
can
just
cook
make-
on show days.
That's nice.
I take advantage of it. I'm not a road dog. And I'm still very restless. Don't get me wrong. I drive everybody around me crazy, but I'm restless not because I want to keep moving. I'm restless mentally. And the joy of being creative is you can go anywhere you want in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't need
I don't need to be
the
moving
other
around all the
adventure.
time.
Yeah.
Any adventure I want to imagine is available.
Yeah.
So if you're not a creative person, I don't know what that would be for you, but thankfully I have this. And this is where I've gone ever since I wanted to escape things in my own house that were awful. So I've learned how to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be moving around to have adventure. Stability.
Vocally, was it so hard? Or is like doing show after show after show? Because we have a friend who's working with Adele right now.
Yeah.
It sounds so
Keeping
hard.
your voice in shape.
You have to be very disciplined. If I were a smoker, if I was a partier, if I didn't have the self-discipline to rest, I sleep with 5 humidifiers in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
I've got filters.
It's like a tropical
Humidi-
forest in your room.
No, completely.
Yeah.
It's like there's a little fog in there, and it keeps the
There's
dust
moss
down.
growing on the walls.
It keeps the dust down so that you're not inhaling it.
Yeah.
I sleep with a CPAP machine. I'm like doing it
You're
all.
on it. Yeah.
I'm on
have
it.
to.
Yeah.
I'm committed.
Well, also, you got taken out for a long time with Lyme's disease and
Yeah.
some issues with your throat. I learned a term today. Let me see if I can remember it. Hypo. I had never heard this term. Vocal
Associated
condition.
to the vocal.
Yeah.
I don't have any vocal cord damage at all.
That's amazing.
Here it is.
Okay.
Oh, what a word.
Dysphonia.
Dysphonia.
Oh.
I loved learning that word today. Dysphonia.
Yep, dysphonia. So
Hoarse
it's
voice.
no.
When I looked it up, it said that.
Did it say hoarse?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can create hoarseness.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so just a real quick, so we don't waste time on the science of it all. But
Yeah.
the singer's biggest problem with their voice is a rigid vocal cord or a thickening of the vocal cords, which doesn't allow them to open enough.
And this is probably through repetitive damage.
Rubbing.
It's kind of
Yeah.
calcing or
Over-singing.
getting. Yeah.
Singing out of your range.
Vocal pachydermis.
That's right.
Sorry, inside thing.
Okay. Singing too hard. If you're somebody that really leans on those vocal cords, you're going to get calluses and things like
Yeah.
that. You can avoid it with technique, but I mean, who knows?
Too busy.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, I've never had that, but that's the very common typical thing that everybody gets. And that creates hoarseness, and they can't hit any high notes. And mostly air just comes out. So with me, a completely different thing. Nothing to do with the vocal cords themselves. You have a nerve to each vocal cord. When it's gone, it's gone. If one nerve is slack or weak or atrophied, you do not get equal closure.
It goes out of sync, like a heart firing.
Do you have a
wrong.
straw in here? Just because this is just fun. Do you have a
Do
straw?
we?
Don't think we have a
That's
straw.
embarrassing.
Of the trillion
We didn't have
trinkets in here we
tissues
have.
or a
We-
straw.
I don't know that we have straw. Are you going to
Okay,
bend
so
it
if
and
you
then
don't
blow
have-
through it and make that swanky noise?
It's not what you're expecting.
Oh my God.
Man.
Are you going to blow your
Dang
nose
it.
with it and send me into a
I know.
tailspin?
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah. I'm not going to do anything illegal with it either. Okay, so just do this exercise at some point. If you put a straw in your mouth and then you try to whistle, you won't be able to do it.
Right.
Because you need the lip closure.
I got it. Watch this.
And
Watch
to
this. Look at me.
control-
Look how creative I am.
You are.
Look what I just did.
This is called ingenuity.
Oh my God.
Look at
Don't
this. So this is a
drink
straw. So you want me to try to whistle?
Yep.
First, let me see if I can even whistle without
Whistle
the
without
apparatus.
it.
No good.
Nothing.
No, you can't. You
There's nothing
cannot
there. No.
change tone.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You should be able to
Yeah, sure. Dance around.
You can't do that with a
No.
straw in your mouth. You need the lips. You need the closure
Yeah.
to be able to control that airflow
Mm-hmm.
and manage tone, pitch, everything.
So you had an electrical problem, basically.
I did.
Yeah.
Discovered by the neurologist. If you have Lyme's disease, it often goes in.
Oh, it came
checks.
because of the Lyme's disease.
The Lyme disease
Wow.
damaged the nerves.
Wow.
You can't fix it.
You know who had Lyme's disease? I'm sure you would know this. Also, tremendous singer, perfect pitch, Daryl Hall.
Really?
Right.
He had a terrible bout with Lyme's disease. And ultimately, he fixed it with his diet. Is that what you had to do?
I had to take a lot of antibiotics. I was able to get rid of it out of my system, and it took me about 4 months.
This all coincides.
But the damage was done. You know, like that damage was
You're not regrowing.
it's irreversible.
Yeah, you're going to have to learn to work
well,
it with
no,
what.
I've got. I had
Oh, yeah,
open
you got
throat
some
surgery.
Kevlar in there.
I've got Teflon. in there,
Gore-Tex.
yeah.
Gore-Tex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So they were able to place them
Oh, yeah.
to give
You're a cyborg.
equal closure.
Yeah. You're high tech.
Was that
I'm very high tech.
such a
Oh my
hard
God.
recovery?
Oh yes, it was. It
That
was
sounds
yucky. Anyway,
Mm.
Horrible.
Okay.
That's all behind me. Don't look down. Don't look back.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
well,
what we
unfortunately, I just got to
Otherwise,
ask.
I'd be traumatized every time I
I
think
know,
about
but
it.
if we go from 1997, the height of that album, and then we go to the Lyme's disease, your throat's fucked up, you are separated, that interests me. I mean, that's an enormous
Low
shift
point.
in the ride. Like, whoa, 6 years ago, this was like a fairy tale, and now real life's happening nonstop. Now that I know you a little bit, were you like, yeah, I knew this was coming? Or were you like, what happened?
Once life was going so well, I settled too well into that, almost forgetting that you never know what's around the next corner.
See,
So I
this
think
is
that
what's
hit me
sad,
harder
That
than
makes me
though,
sad.
but that makes
Yeah.
me really sad because that's our damage saying that.
I don't think that a lot of the things that happened to me since my divorce should have been so hard on me. I should have been less naive about life's ups and downs. Maybe I'm too much like that's all behind me.
Yeah, you're allowed to
Thinking-
believe that. You should believe that.
You know what? One thing is I'm not a quitter.
I'm really nervous to ask you this because I don't know if it embarrasses you. Mutt had an affair with your friend.
Yep.
You then married your friend's
Friend's
ex-husband.
husband.
Wow.
That's who she's married to.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
love this.
That's kind of.
So embarrassing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's nothing to be
I
embarrassed
love it. I can see this going down with couples my wife and I double date with. We always wonder, like,
You can
oh,
see that going down? No,
yeah, like
I could
if you
not
just
see that for us.
what do you call it? A musical chairs. Everyone just gets up and
my
rotates.
God.
Did you guys all hang as a group? You must
Of
have.
course, but I did not get close to Fred at all. We didn't have each other's numbers.
Oh, wow.
Right. Okay, it was all post.
He was not really part of our daily life because we was all working these crazy
Workaholic.
hours, a lot of travel, very high profile company, just
Yeah.
suit and tie. And so he would be around like weekend dinners and stuff like that. We would all eat together. And that was it. And then it would mostly be him and Mutt chatting. So I didn't really know Fred very well. I guess it was a beautiful surprise to then see how gracefully and graciously he was dealing with
Navigating the same pain you were
the same
feeling.
pain. He
Yeah.
was so thoughtful about it all.
Understanding, maybe?
He was not understanding, no.
Okay. Okay.
It was not cool with him.
Yeah.
But he was smarter about it. And I was uncontrollably fragile over it,
Mm-hmm.
which I had never felt before ever. Because I thought for once I was stable.
Yeah.
I really believed that I'm safe. So that really devastated me, I think, more than any other
Can I ask you a
instability
quick
I've
question?
ever felt. Yeah.
Were you mad at yourself in that I knew better? I'm not naive.
God, how could I be so stupid? Yeah, I was
Right.
definitely
Mad
that.
at yourself, which is so unfair.
I was. How could I be so stupid? But then again, Fred's so smart. Like, this is one of the smartest people I know. He didn't know either.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right,
helpful.
That made me feel better.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
like,
yes.
Fred.
This guy's a genius and
Like,
he didn't
he's
know. Yeah.
like shit. If he didn't
Yeah.
see it,
He's running a Fortune 500
you
and
know,
he
and
didn't. Yeah.
neither of us saw it coming.
But I just think for you in your history,
Yeah.
the hard part would be I've been working so hard to protect myself and I failed myself.
I allowed myself to trust too much. I can tell you I'm
Yes.
being very honest.
Yes, that's what breaks my heart. I
Yeah.
actually don't care about infidelity. Life's complicated.
No,
That's not what I worry
life
about.
Life is complicated.
It is. But I worry about you thinking that you
Right.
failed yourself because that's not what happened.
I did let my guard down too much. I was
But
like,
you had no
God, how
choice.
could I
You
be
have
such
to.
a child.
You
Like,
have
I'm
to.
so naive about that.
Present, you
Yeah.
have to relinquish.
You got to
that.
go all in.
Yeah.
And then life
know.
is complicated.
Well, I was angry though. The anger comes a lot from my childhood too, because I'm thinking, man, you can do anything to me, but if you fucking lie,
Yes.
like
yeah.
right to my fucking face,
Yeah.
now I'm so angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just infidelity happens. That was not me. Yeah, I spun around in that for quite a while. That was the hardest part to let go of, really. The anger, Just like,
Yes.
I'm fucking mad about this.
Are they still together? Do you
Yeah.
remember? Wow. And so total
It,
flip.
it was
total
musical
flip-flop.
chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you talk to them still?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
I never have. I mean, Mutt and I parent well together.
Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, you gotta at some
Yeah, for people
level.
that don't talk to each other, we'll just text. We both love our son so much.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and so we don't play any games like that. We have the same priority.
right.
We share spaces for him. No nonsense there. But yeah, that's craziness.
Yeah,
But silver
it's
lining.
quite wild.
Yeah. I think everyone gets what they deserve,
Yeah.
And you made the most of it.
Oh, I got what I deserve. All right. I got the greatest man
Yeah.
on the planet. And
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
I mean, he's got you
So I'm
out
not
there
mad
in
at myself
Switzerland.
anymore.
I'm still a little confused about that, but I get it.
You wish you lived
We
in
were we went to
Switzerland.
Austria this year for summer vacation and I loved it. I went there just for a Formula One race, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
this is so
wow.
worthy of coming to
You
just.
did?
Yes.
Oh. I don't know a lot about Formula One, but Fred's very best friend is Formula One journalist.
Oh, really?
cool.
Okay.
So he
me and
reports.
Fred would have
He
a
travels
lot
around.
to
You would have
talk
been there,
about.
for example.
Okay, so you are going to go on tour with Queen of Me.
I am so.
And where are you going? How many cities? What's your game plan to
Somewhere
not
between
feel
70
unmoored?
and 80. Yeah. We have like
Wow.
somewhere between 70 and 80 shows.
Global?
We are not going entirely global yet, but I really want to get to a lot of other countries that I have not been to in a long time since pre-COVID. First stretch, North America and England, UK.
When does it start?
We start in April.
Do you have any anxiety that that's looming? Like there's so much work around the corner.
I get ready so early. So because I'm part of the designing team, I'm part of the directing team, I know the show so well already by the time
that you're excited
by
to
the
go
time
do
I have
it.
to actually be on the stage.
Yeah.
So like my last role is getting on the stage.
And have you figured out a way, because I'm going to make the movie analogy. Part of it is I loved going away to a movie because you're in a bubble and you're not responsible for anything. The part I don't like is it's almost like your life didn't happen as well. Trying to figure out how to incorporate your life in it so you're not pausing your life to go do 80 shows. It's like the 80 shows are your life, so you want people there that bring meaning to that. And so do you have a system in place?
My son will come with me,
Oh, wonderful.
which is great. And he always has because I don't like, well, I mean, now he's 21. I was like, that would have sounded weird. I don't like to be away from my son, but he likes to be away from me. But, you know, when he was younger, he would always come because career is never first over my child.
Right.
On this tour, though, now that he's not even living at home anymore, he wants to come along with his music setup because he's a producer and a writer, and he's going to bring his engineer, and they're both going to just work
on the road.
music on the road. And
Fun.
why not, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's nice for me to have him around.
I'm friends with a few musicians, and making an effort to actually be in the place you're in instead of
Right.
hotel arena.
I would love to, but I can't. The voice is too fragile.
Yeah.
You got to
It's too
be
fragile.
quiet when you're not on stage.
I can't be speaking. I can't be running around in different air environments. I can't
Yeah.
be.
What if I paled around with you and I say, hey, she's not talking tonight? You got a question, you ask me.
You're the
That's
bodyguard.
exactly right.
No. She's not talking tonight.
I think that's what happens to a lot of artists. They get a bad rap for being divas because it's like, no, don't talk to her. Don't even look at her.
Yes,
Don't
yes,
even-
yeah.
don't
But-
touch her.
But they got to.
It's very fragile. So,
Yeah, it's his little doodads in there. I mean,
Yeah.
of course it is.
and going into the different environments. So I control the environment that I'm in the hotels where I have to stay. So
26 humidifiers.
a lot of
Moss on the
humidifiers. I go through a lot of effort. You know, I take my own mattress around, my own pillows, my bedding, my sheets, everything.
Everything's got to be hypoallergenic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take it
smart.
seriously.
I
I don't
want to
wanna-
witness this kind of.
It's
I want to see
crazy.
the setup.
I send someone ahead to do it to make sure it's all
Yes.
disinfected. I'm not a germaphobe, but this is about the voice.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's like being an athlete. You know, you got to have your whatever it is you need to be able to stay at your top performance level. That's what it takes for me. I drink only liquids on show days, no solid foods till after the show
Okay.
because it's mucus building and it's got to be
Yes.
alkaline. So
Yeah.
a lot of little things, you know.
Yeah. When you finish the tour, it must feel like you've done a bazillion marathons.
That's a transition. When I end a tour, I like to be alone. The last tour I finished, I went away for a week by myself.
Yeah.
I went to be alone, right? But I went to a Sandals,
Oh,
wow.
which is not somewhere to be.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very
Like,
communal.
that's weird,
Yeah. They're
isn't it?
encouraging people to interact. Right. Yeah. It's in their,
Okay.
it's in the commercials.
It was just a proximity thing where I was not in the US. I go there, I'm in my room, and I just stay there the whole time. That's all I needed. I didn't have to worry about the environment because I wasn't there to interact.
Right.
So it was just like, okay, everybody else is here to be together. I just need the room. I just need a little bit of a view, some sun, some humidity, sit out on the balcony. I went to the library, picked out a few books, and I just sat and
Do you
read.
eat a
read,
bunch
read,
of foods
read,
you
read,
had
read,
been
read.
denying yourself on tour? A bunch of cheese and stuff?
Yeah, because cheese is bad
Right.
for the voice.
Yeah.
It's
So do you just have like
bad.
10 grilled cheeses?
I just went back to eating normally, you know, and I'm a vegetarian anyway. But yeah, I went back to eating normally. No more routine. Slept when I wanted, got up when I wanted, that sort of thing. It's such an environment switch.
There's a storied and long history of musicians. That transition's very, very hard, and it has proven hard and ended a lot of everything for people. Yeah. And drugs and all these things to cope with that extreme opposite.
All of a sudden, all of the people, all of the routine, everything about your life in those months is all of a sudden overnight gone.
Yeah.
Like gone.
Yes.
There's
the family that is formed.
Everyone is dispersed.
Yeah. Like the whole thing's
It is
dematerialized.
not natural. I mean, it's just not natural.
It's a very
for people.
unnatural switch. It's a psychological finality that we're not good with as human beings. That's why death is so traumatizing. It's so final, you know. Someone doesn't love you back. It's so final. It's like, what do you mean? There's those things where it's like, whoa, 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 slow down. You know, can we just like end this slower? Can we go at my pace? You're gonna die, but can you just like die when I'm ready?
Yeah.
When I have
Can
the
you die when
time.
I'm ready?
Yes, when I have the time to observe it and be a part of it. I remember in college learning in a class about the difference between the PTSD rates for World War II vets and Vietnam vets. And there are many explanations, one being the amount of combat they actually saw, which was higher in a shorter period of time. But one of the main things was soldiers in World War II, my grandpa, he left the Philippines and he got on a boat for weeks with other soldiers who were all going home. And they got to kind of talk about returning home. And there was this long period of kind of decompressing. The soldiers in Vietnam, they were in fucking Vietnam in the morning, and in the evening they were in San Francisco. And that was too much.
Yeah, because processing is processing. It's supposed to have its own moment, its own space, its own experience, and it's not a light switch.
Yeah. Shania, I have loved this. Blew my greatest expectation. Queen of Me is out now, so please immediately listen to it. The whole thing. Sit down, listen to the whole thing. Then go online and figure out how to buy tickets to go see Shania perform Queen of Me. And then once those tickets have been purchased, pop on Not Just a Girl, an incredible Netflix documentary that I loved and everyone should watch, on a loop over and over again until you get to that concert. I loved meeting you.
Thank you. You're both so kind and wonderful. It was just a lovely, lovely conversation. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
I had to address that we had been scammed in the intro for today's Armchair Anonymous.
Oh, you already did it?
Yeah. In the intro.
Okay.
What do you mean?
You already did the intro.
Well, I had to. It was for this morning.
Today's episode.
Copy. I thought you meant.
No, as soon as I got home from the airport, I raced in here and recorded that
I got it.
because we had forgot to do that. But at any rate,
You talked about it.
that we had been
And what'd
we'd
you
been
say?
hoodwinked.
What'd you say?
So look, it looks like we've been hoodwinked. Turns out that was an urban legend. My two thoughts are like, one, it's a real bummer. I want some
Yeah.
integrity. Number two, guy told a great story. Like, you got to give it up for how well he told that story.
I almost feel weird because what if it's true? Like, I still want to
Oh, wow,
believe
you're
it's
still
true.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Because
yeah.
he seems so normal.
I know, but he wasn't. He was an
Are
actor.
we sure?
Well, yes, it's like hundreds of people wrote in. I've heard that story
What
a
if
dozen
it
times.
ha- what if-
Also, it was insane. So once I saw Urban Legend, it's like, yeah, of course. Like the fact that a guy stole the bag from him on top of everything else.
It made sense.
Well, that's right. Well, as all urban legends do, they play upon your fears.
But
So.
he drove my same car.
Well, so do several other million.
Oh, it does.
Wait.
Do we
though?
think he
No.
even
Yeah.
did
Does
drive
he?
that car?
Oh, wait, was that the same guy who said?
Yes. And he said his family member wrote in also about, and so, and that's too many things to put out there if it's fake.
No, he lied to us. He lied to us. He told us a story that he'd heard, and he did a great job. I mean, you think about all the aspects, like a rich family that lets him stay there for a month in New York is already like, well, that's a premise of an 80s movie, you know? And then on top of it, the dog dies immediately. Then on top of it, he can't get it there. Then he's got a duffel bag. Then the place is closed. He's got to get somewhere else. Then he can't do it, and some guy offers to help. Then the guy steals his. I mean, it's a, you know, in reflection, it was a real doozy, which is what made it so fun. But I will say, I gotta give the guy performed the hell out of it. He fooled us.
Yeah.
You're still a little bit fooled.
I still believe him.
I think people are going to be on the lookout on these new ones too, because I think we already got a comment about the sleepwalking window jumper.
But that's an urban legend.
That it's close to a Mike Birbiglia story.
But that also
that doesn't
could
bother me.
happen.
Yeah. I just mean, I
to-
think people are going to be on high alert.
Extra
now.
high alert. Yeah. I mean, really, it bums me out
Yeah.
because I want the show to have integrity.
I
But and there's
know.
no way for us to go back in time and like
No.
it is what it is.
We're gonna keep proceeding. But that was my fear when we started the show.
Your fear was confirmed.
It happened.
Some 60 stories later, though, I'm doing all right percentage
I
wise.
think it's fine.
Talk to me, Goose. I'm gonna go out on a limb
Yeah.
and guess you're struggling.
Well, I'm late.
Oh well, that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's rainy
Yeah.
and it's dark and it's gloomy and you have sad.
Yeah. It's raining a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I'm having a vitamin issue.
You are, tell me.
Well, I started taking new vitamins.
Okay. No vitamin.
And I don't know if they're helping or hurting.
Oh. What kind of vitamins?
They're a good vitamin.
Okay.
I think it's just really strong.
So what's it doing to you?
It's
Maybe
a
I want to pop some of
three-piece.
these.
It's a woman's multi
I'm a woman.
in your heart.
Yeah. In my groin.
It's hefty, I think. I think it's just a lot on my system. This is what happened. When I went home,
Yeah.
my mom had these women's multivitamin that are just little gummies.
Oh, sure.
And they're
chum, chum, chum.
Yeah, so yummy. But they sit on her table and then we just eat them sometimes.
Like candy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I mean once a day like you're
all
supposed
right.
to.
Not
but
like 7, 8, 9.
no.
Okay.
But it's like, oh, I'll have this after dinner. Yum. And then she was like, yeah, you should be taking a multivitamin.
Okay.
I thought, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So then when I got home, I started taking these vitamins. Now they're not the same. They're not these gummies. These are like more intense.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Taste bad.
They're pills.
They smell weird.
One's a fish oil, so
Ooh.
that's gonna smell fishy.
Sure.
Actually, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Which we love. Anywho, so I just been feeling bad.
Okay. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, what kind of bad? It's a big word.
Kind of physically bad.
Lack of energy, lethargy.
Yes, I feel like I'm sick,
Great.
but two things could be happening.
Yeah.
The vitamin could actually be fighting the sickness.
Okay.
And so that I'm not getting fully sick. I'm just like kind of living at a 20% unwell
Yep.
because the vitamin's working.
Yeah.
Or the vitamin is draining all my energy.
That would be new, I think, in
I
the
know.
scientific literature. I've not heard that, but I will
Some
say,
people do respond badly to certain things.
sure, you could have an allergy to something you're taking, I guess. But let me offer this up. So my whole house has been sick for a month.
Yeah.
But not me. I'm fine. Like all the ladies in the house have been fucked up. Chest, nose, the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Delta's had this crazy cough. We actually took her to the doctor. So for 3 weeks that's been going on, I didn't have shit. Well, soon as we broke so that I could go with my Monfrere up
Yeah.
to Val, Colorado,
Yeah.
like Friday, we had a big day. I forget what we did, but Saturday morning, day before I was going to leave for the trip, woke up, sinuses hurt, like that very specific, I've got a cold feeling. And I thought, okay, well, here it is. So then, I was sick on Saturday, flew there Sunday.
Yeah.
It really hit like gangbusters while I was there.
Yeah.
I'm going to add, this top chair was 11,000 foot elevation.
Oof.
Not a lot of oxygen
I
up
know.
there.
I told you to take electrolytes.
Yes, you did. But what I really needed was an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
We were thinking, what if we were skiing in scuba gear, like full regulators on, just keep our oxygen up. So anyways, that the trip, although wonderful in all the ways, I was very sick.
Yeah.
And I now, it's out of my nose mostly, but in my chest too.
Yeah.
In fact, some woman listened to the post that Aaron and I are talking, and she said, you have throat cancer. You need to go get it checked. I've noticed your
Oh my
voice has been
God.
degrading, and you have throat cancer. But I already had that scope, just to put your mind at ease, whoever commented that, when I had my last anal exam,
But when was that?
colonoscopy, last year. And I had them go down my throat, make sure I didn't have any human papillomavirus in my throat. That's generally what causes the throat cancer.
But you do dip, so I want you to get that checked out a lot. I'm serious.
Listen, I just did.
Last year,
Yes.
you need to do it every 2 months.
Okay. Okay, listen. My point is, I got derailed. it is possible that you two knew you had a break coming up when I left.
Yeah.
And that your body said, time to deal with this cold.
I know, but then it didn't. That's the weird part. It didn't become a whole cold.
Right.
That's why I think maybe
could
the
be your
vitamins
version
are
of it.
working.
Yeah. Maybe it's
They're mitigating it, but it's not fully
Mm-hmm.
gone. Or the vitamins are slowly killing me.
Yeah.
Here's another piece you'll love to hear. It's making my poops pretty hard.
Okay.
That's
uncomfortable.
not consistent with my poops.
Right.
I never struggle with this. Quite the opposite.
Yes.
So that part I hated, and I knew it had to be that.
And is that hurting your caboose?
No, it's hurting my spirit more.
Okay. It's not like that sharp pain.
No, but it's like it's
you're
not
passing a
falling
Rambo
right
knife.
out, and I want it to fall right out.
Sure. Soft serve style.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't want scoop.
Or splash even.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So then I decided to counter that by taking a probiotic
oh, wow. Okay.
and a hormone leveler.
What?
I know.
What's a hormone leveler?
It's just another supplement that helps regulate your hormones. And I thought I need that because my hormones have been all over the place and I don't really have control over them. And that's hurting my spirit too.
Right. Okay.
So I started taking all this stuff and then I was like,
Yeah. Because I want to just pause you for a second and go like, if you're already a little confused how you're feeling on one batch of things, adding a bunch more seems like the opposite approach a scientist would take. It'd be like, well, let's take out one of these 3 pills, see if I feel the same.
yeah.
Okay, I do. Let's take out another.
Well,
And you're like, no, let's add new variables.
I think what happened is I've been on this vitamin for like a month
Oh, okay.
and the poop stuff has been going on.
For a month.
Right. But the
Oh, okay.
sick stuff has not. So then I added the probiotic.
To make the poop soft.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then I added the hormone things also at the same time.
Just for
Unrelated.
willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
On a whim.
I felt crazy.
Okay, you did.
I did. I felt crazy.
Like you were tripping or
I just like, I don't know, all over
scatterbrained
the
and-
place.
Okay,
Just-
wacky.
It felt weird.
Okay.
And then I thought maybe I should take one of these things out of the mix. So I took the hormone thing out. Oh, and then I started feeling sick. And I was like, oh, is that because I combined all these things and my body can't handle it?
Wow.
So then I took the hormone thing out. And I was going to take the probiotic, but I've been continuing.
Okay.
Because now I also want to see, maybe my body's just adjust. I just don't know.
Oh, man. I'm inclined to say you stop taking all of it.
Really?
Yeah, because did you ever feel better?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the fence
my legs
about.
feel soft.
Oh, the skin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's the vitamin.
Okay, that's great. That's probably the fish oil.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe keep the fish
I
oil.
know. See, I'm doing all of this where I'm like, oh, do I take, because, so it's 3 parts and one is a vitamin, one is a beauty blend vitamin,
Okay.
and then a fish oil.
Okay.
So it could also be the beauty blend.
The biotin, it's got some
Yeah, and
skin
some
health
other
care.
stuff.
Yeah, keratin.
So
Wow.
yeah, I'm going through a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like you had just as big of an adventure staying home as I did
Yeah.
hitting the slopes.
But okay, this is a crazy sim. Are you allowed
It
to
is.
say
Well,
it?
let me ask him really quick.
Okay.
All right, let's get him on the phone. Let's get him on the phone real quick. Hey, comma, can I tell your bed mix up on the podcast? Question mark. Well, I mean, that might clue people into
Well,
what
I'll
happened.
cut it if he says no, obviously.
There's no way he's going to say no. I think we can probably just proceed.
Move forward.
Yeah, so simultaneous to my cold, Aaron was experiencing something different. Now, it should be known, like you gave a little bit of your past medical history, which was appreciated, which is you have a soft stool. Now, what's confusing about this is Aaron has a very loose stool, historically, almost every movement of his whole life.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
might point to something. But he had for real Hannes Rios, like waking up in the middle of the night several times, the whole trip.
But the whole trip.
Yes, and he looked up symptoms of altitude sickness. And it said one of the symptoms no one talks about is either really bad constipation or explosive Hannes Rios.
I know why.
Tell me.
He was probably dehydrated.
Okay.
No, that's real. Dehydration.
Well, from the Hannes Rios.
Well, both, because you're at elevation
Uh-huh.
and that's dehydrating.
Okay.
No, it is.
right.
It's a thing.
Okay, I know.
And then he's low on electrolytes,
Mm-hmm.
and that can cause diarrhea.
Hannes Rios.
And then he's extra dehydrated because he's having diarrhea and he's not replenishing with electrolytes. So it's just continuing. It's not getting better.
Yes. Okay. All possible. Who knows? We never got him to the doctor. The point is he was really struggling with this.
Okay.
But I got to back up because we were going to sleep in the same room and we had 2 cute twin beds. And
Twin?
they
No.
were queens, whatever is below a queen, a full or something. Yeah. So night number 1, we went out to eat Sunday night and we had a really yummy meal and it was packed full of lentils. Now, he and I don't eat lentils, okay?
I love lentils.
They're bland. That's the best I can say about them. They're bland.
Depending on how you're eating them.
The sauce surrounding them was great, but the delivery mechanism seemed to. It doesn't matter. We had eaten way more lentils than either of us have ever eaten in our life. So, night 1, go to sleep, and I've got pretty bad gas. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. I've got very loud toots.
Okay.
Okay. He's got like the loudest toots I've ever heard.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Like, I think someone's blowing a trumpet as loud as they can. Like, I'm half asleep thinking I'm going to turn around and see Louis Armstrong blowing that.
What time is it when these farts start happening?
They're all night. They're like as soon as he's asleep. But now he also has a sleep apnea machine, right?
Right.
That's getting loose, and I'm hearing.
Oh, no. Oh.
Like, that's what the fart sounds like. There's so much air pressure coming out, and then.
Oh my
it was
God.
insane. And then I'm already sick, and I'm in LA, so I'm already having an impossible time sleeping as it is. Plus, I'm being woken up with my own toots. It was insane. I said to Aaron, if there was like surveillance footage of that room that night, that would be, that you would definitely think it was fake. The amount of toots and the machine and my toots. Anyways. So I moved out.
You had
the
to.
next day luckily there was an adjoining room with the door because I couldn't be separated room because we wanted to watch TV together and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is perfect. So it had an adjoining door and we got that room. And then the next morning I wake up and I said, how'd you sleep? And he's like, oh my God, I was up so many times with Hannes. And
The next morning.
that I wasn't with him.
Right.
Thank God. And then he goes, and Dad, I shit the bed a little bit. And I was like, whoa, what happened? He said, well, I woke up one of the times to do my Hannes. He said, what was really crazy is I was farting really loud in between trips to the Hannes, which that is Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Like he's laying there determining like, no, this isn't
This one
Hannes. And
isn't?
yes. And
Yeah.
now mind you, I've played that game. I know I can't say I'm innocent of doing that,
Sure.
but apparently he woke up like, oh, time to go Hannes. When he got onto the turlet, he looked at his undies and he saw there was a little bit of Hannes, and he was like, "Oh my God!"
But it was a Hannes or a hard turd?
No, it was Hannes.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like spray. So I don't know. He didn't go. I'm filling in some blanks here.
Okay.
So, so then he's like, "Oh my God!" Now he's like, he's
Humiliated.
He's demoralized.
Oh no.
So he cleans up and then he puts on some new MeUndies.
Yeah.
He goes to sleep, and then when he wakes up in the morning, it occurs to him to look where he was lying. And there was a little, there's a little evidence
In the bed.
in the bed. So,
Hotels are disgusting.
hold on. So the upside was I wasn't in the room for that. That's
God.
Yeah, I moved just in time. And then two, great thing, he had another bed to go to because I had deserted my bed.
Oh, right.
So he moved to my bed in the middle of the trip.
Okay. And we have to talk about the crazy, crazy sim, which was in the last fact check when we were joking about like, hey, what happened on your trip? Like as a joke, moving into the future, you said, well, Aaron shit his pants.
On the slopes.
On the slopes.
Yes. And no, even funnier, in his sleep chamber.
But you did that.
I guess I did.
You and my
I
dad.
owe him an apology.
I can't believe that.
But now, look, it's really talking out of school telling that story. I feel compelled to say that Aaron did a great job skiing. Here's a young man who started skiing 6 weeks ago
yeah.
on trash heaps in Michigan, as we talked about this, they're landfills.
Yeah.
A run is 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And we got out there and first stop, 11,000 feet,
Yeah.
coming down the side of a mountain. And he did incredible.
Good.
And each day he got better and better and better.
And you, how about you? You were fine? You hopped right back?
I was shocked. Yeah, I did not fall down in 3 whole days.
Wow.
I told you already, but I did have one. So by day 2, I decided I want to start hitting some jumps to make my Monfrere proud. And
Some moguls?
they're pathetic jumps, right? Like I'm going off the jumps and I'm getting like 9 inches of air. And when I'm landing, I look stiff as a 2x4, but I'm doing it, right? And
Yeah.
then so now I got this little technique because I'm on mostly the easy trails with Aaron. So I'm cutting off to the side to find little jumps.
Yeah.
And I took off and I hit a jump. And, oh, this is great. But then I noticed on the backside, it was so low. And then 3 more jumps right in a row. And I landed in the worst kind of, I landed at the bottom, then wasn't expecting to have to go through 3 more jumps. I didn't fall. It was a miracle. Aaron was like, oh my God, look like you're going to fall for like 12 seconds. To save it, I'm jarring my knees and craning my back. So ultimately, I think I should have just fallen down. But it was day 3 and I had a perfect record. So I had to salvage it.
You're on a streak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was so fun.
Oh my God, good.
And you burn so many calories.
Yeah, it's a intense sport.
It really is. Now, Aaron was wearing his watch
Okay.
and it has a ski mode.
Oh.
And it claimed, we only did it for the second and third day, that he had burned 750 calories above whatever calories he was burning just to be alive. So in our 4 hours on the hill, 2,100 calories. That was wild. Eric pointed out I probably didn't burn as much calories because I'm not as heavy as Aaron, but then I pointed out I was really sick.
Jumping, and
I
you
was
were sick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But Aaron rightly did assess that he thinks the main outputs was anytime he fell and he had to get back up. That was his main physical
That's
exertion.
hard.
Yeah. Another weird sim thing was happening, or I don't know what, it's not sim.
Okay.
Actually, this goes to the human side of things.
Okay.
Okay, this is anti-sim.
Oh, no. Okay.
This very special thing happened, which was Aaron on the first day crashed probably 4 or 5 times. I ski in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
All 5 times he crashed, I was behind him. And his shit came off up the hill.
Oh.
It worked out every time. So, like 4 of the times I was above him and I got to retrieve either his pole
stuff.
or his whatever.
Yeah.
Another time I happened to stop. I sensed maybe and then I stopped and I look up and he's hitting the deck and his helmet came off.
Oh, no.
So his helmet was rolling down the mountain.
Oh, no.
I was perfectly aligned to snag it as it was about to roll by.
Oh, my God.
But it would have gone down the whole mountain.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the last day we were like, well, this is weird. Do you notice that every single time you've fallen, I have been in the right spot?
Oh.
So that felt very
That's
soul-selly
sweet.
and nice.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
That's best friend. That's Monfrere's.
You're looking at a couple of
Monfrere energy.
old school Monfreres there.
Oh my gosh, how sweet.
It was really fun. We skied 4 hours a day, and then we ate, and we watched from beginning to end all 6 episodes of George and Tammy, or Tammy and George, whatever it is, on Showtime.
I haven't watched that yet.
It's phenomenal. It's so good. And fucking
Jessica
Michael Shannon.
And Jessica Chastain.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's absolutely great.
Yeah.
Especially in light of what she did with Tammy Faye earlier in the year.
Right. She's so many Tammys.
Mm-hmm. Who else can she play? My sister-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Tammy Shepard.
Yeah.
But he...
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah.
What is Tammy short for? Tamara?
No, it's just Tammy.
It is?
Yeah. But there are Tamaras. I met some Tamaras.
Right. Okay.
But they went by Tamara.
Right.
Yeah, they're proud of that name. Very fancy.
Okay, go on.
She's brilliant. He was born to play that.
Wow.
I mean, he is so sensational.
Wow.
I was just like, oh my God, he's perfect. Every moment. What a wild ride those two had. George Jones and Tammy Wynette.
I don't know really much
I knew
about
he was a drunk
Yeah.
and wild, and he got wild.
Oof.
Stand by your man. That's her song in response to George.
Right.
But she became a junkie.
She did.
Mhm.
She got taken down.
She became a full-fledged, had to shoot up all day
Really?
for decades, yeah. I didn't know that whole part of it.
But she was.
She wasn't.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Was it her codependency that made her like.
Transferred.
Yeah.
It started with when she delivered their child. She had previous children, and he did too. When she delivered their child, she had to have a hysterectomy immediately after delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had all these complications. So it started with she wouldn't take the time to get the surgery to fix it because she wanted to perform. So then it was just give me pills.
Yeah.
And then that just escalated to her shooting Demerol. And
Fuck.
yeah.
Sad.
It was by the way, it was very reminiscent of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee story in that you're like, God, these two love each other so much, but she can't be with this guy.
Yeah. Well, that's a ding, ding, ding.
It is?
Yeah, because this is Shania Twain's fact check. And her mom and dad, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, this is a Pam and Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I loved Shania. I got to say, it was just like 3x my expectation.
She's great.
She was incredible.
She's a tough cookie and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I told Callie that I told Shania that she loved her.
Oh, and they had gone to her concert with her dad.
Yes. And that made her really happy. And then a few days later, she was like, oh, do you want to go to her concert?
When's her concert?
I forget,
Let's
but
go,
I said
girls.
yes.
You said yes.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're going to go.
But you don't know where it's at or when it's at.
No.
The Hollywood Bowl, May 28th.
Oh, wow.
The Hollywood Bowl, May 28th. Anyway, but, sidebar, and another thing we watched. I've only watched 1.5 parts. You watched the whole thing.
Sarah Lawrence?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
The Hulu doc, Stolen Youth.
Yes.
About a cult that emerged out of Sarah Lawrence.
No fault of theirs.
No,
So
had
the
nothing
whole
to
time
do
I'm
with them.
thinking of it like, God, they really got their name dragged through the
I
mud.
know. It just was a bunch of kids who went there.
Living
and
off campus and student. Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's so diabolical.
It is.
There's like 8 college students living in a house. One of the girls in the house, her father is going to be released from prison. He has nowhere to go. Can he sleep on the couch a few days a week? Everyone's like, cool. He gets there. He kind of doesn't leave. He develops all these really intimate relationships with each of the kids.
He's helping
most of
them.
Yes, and here's what's crazy. It's like all these other ones.
I know.
Initially, he is.
Exactly.
You can't get there if you don't have some real intuition and some kind of wisdom
Yes.
to win the credit,
Exactly.
to establish credit. And then a psychopath takes over.
It is so scary when you see the unraveling of what is happening to these kids and their brains.
Not knowing what's
Not
reality.
knowing what's real. Really,
Yes.
like making up full stories.
That they've all been poisoned.
But also like making up full stories that make them the bad guy. So that one
the
guy who
whole-
thought he's like,
He owes him $42,000 of damage to property.
yes.
I want to know. Well, I got to wait till you finish it, but I am so curious. Did he have this game plan fully set, or was it evolving in weird directions that he himself didn't even anticipate?
Yeah. My guess is that.
I kind of think so too. It's kind of like the Stanford prison experiment. How it's like
Yeah.
at first we thought it was about the students, but then
Well, it was at first, but then it like
and then through
turned.
subsequent years, people realized, well, the experimenters themselves were also succumbing to this same phenomena of having power and not
Yeah.
intervening. So I wonder how much the dynamic was affecting him as well.
I'm sure.
It gets weirder and weirder. Just wait. I mean, it gets so insane.
I know.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
So when you watched, I thought of you. I wondered if you like hated him. Did you want to kill him? Because your mixed messages
I
on
want to
some
walk
of this.
in there and beat the fuck
You
out
do.
of him in front of
Okay,
everybody.
good.
Yeah. I see. I'm afraid to ask you this question. I don't know if this is narcissistic or not, or egomaniacal. But I did have this thought, and I have a hunch you did too.
Okay.
I was recognizing I probably have the capacity to be that guy.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, but I
thought that
makes
about you.
sense. You thought I would think that, or when you were watching it, you were thinking, wow, if Dax was evil, he could maybe
Yes.
do. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I was having. Okay, great. I had a hunch we might be having the same thought.
Yeah. Because he, again, like you said, he did help them. He was giving them at first, he was making them feel really good. He was giving them self-esteem in a real way, it seemed. Like,
Yeah.
although no, like when he told the gay guy he just wasn't gay.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Although, if the way he said it was actually really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because the kid says, I've been wrestling with the notion of whether I'm straight or gay.
Yeah.
And he said, well, do you want to have sex with men?
Right.
And the guy said, no.
Right.
He said, then I don't know why you're.
Then
So
you're
in that
not-
way,
Yeah.
it was, right?
I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't even like he said he wasn't. He just basically said, okay, well, let's solve this. If it didn't sound like he was against him being gay. It just was like,
That's
let's make this clear for you.
true.
Do you want to have sex with men?
Yeah, you're right. But it was so quick. It was like, okay, you're not gay, and this is what's really going on. It's your self-esteem or your confidence or whatever.
And then all of a sudden, of course, it turns into orgies.
I know. And it was him teaching him how to like be sexual.
Yes. And then, by the way, okay, so in that part, this is so complex. He was giving him really beautiful advice. He was like,
I know.
Remember, he's making him tease her back and
I
like
know,
build
that
all
made
the
me-
sensations. And instead of just getting there and hammering away like a college kid, he was like trying to explain to him.
But he
that
was
it's all
using
about the
a real
anticip-
girl.
Yes, that part is diabolical. But I was like, the kid did learn good advice, which is like slow down, build sensation,
be thoughtful.
tender, and build
I
some
mean, it
anticipation.
did sound kind of hot.
Right? That's what I'm
I'm just
saying.
kidding. I am
didn't it?
kidding.
Oh,
I'm
you're
kidding.
right. Never did sound
Because
hot.
it didn't because
He was there.
yeah.
Yes. That
And
that
it's
is
so
yeah.
fucking
kinda-
creepy as
yes.
fuck.
Yes.
Ugh.
But okay, so here's what was happening for me though, because I was just isolating the two young people in the story.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about her being touched very gently by him, and that was
Yeah.
nice.
If
And
he
then I
wasn't there.
keep reminding myself there's a fat old guy 1 inch away.
Vocalizing.
Yes, and then I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But then if I just isolated what was happening between the two youths.
I mean, it's nice to be tender. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but like also just knowing that he's so manipulative, that tenderness actually feels disgusting. Like
Yeah,
very
manipulation.
bad. But yeah, anyway, so I did think you help so many people. You, Dax, help so many people that I thought, yeah, I could totally see a bunch of people like moving into your commune because you help them, and you do. But then if something turned, which it could because you're human, I think people could be under your spell. Yeah. I don't want to, I feel like you're going to take this. I don't want.
No, but I'm admitting to you, I had the same thoughts.
Okay.
Of course, then I want to, in my mind, I'm like then trying to shore up my own identity and explain to myself why that would never,
Yeah.
well, I'm actually not like him, right?
Yes. By the way, I don't think you're like
No,
him.
I know. And we've had this thought before when we've watched cult things or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels really gross for me to be acknowledging this, but I can admit there have been times where if I wanted, I could fuel the notion that I have some elevated understanding or secret. I could fuel that in somebody instead of always just going, well, this is just AA, the 4-step, or this, like
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty ethical and,
Yes.
and being,
You give credit.
anytime I get a sense when I'm looking in someone's eyes that they're looking at me, that I'm elevated above human. It's happened a couple times when you meet certain fans that are really,
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. And then I've always actively trying to remind them, no, I shit my pants.
Okay.
Okay.
I want you to be really honest,
Yeah.
okay?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure you don't like the feeling, or are you just self-aware enough to know this is bad, this leads to bad things? I think it would be okay for you to like it and then be checking yourself on it.
Well, I can tell you, and I'm a selfish person, so I don't think this is a evidence of my elevated character.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I feel
trust you.
fraudulent the second you're looking at me that way. Also, I don't want the responsibility for you.
Right.
So if you're looking at me with some godlike projection,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be responsible for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this relationship. I don't want to be your leader. I don't want to be your guru. I don't want, that's too much. So it's just like, I get commitment phobia.
But you
It's
do
kind of like when
giving-
someone is in love with you and you're not in love with them. I hate that feeling, as I'm sure most people do, because
Yeah.
you know you're going to break someone's heart.
Right. But you like giving people not advice, but like it gives you self-esteem.
I love helping people walk through their thoughts
Yeah.
and identify what's really going on.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a great puzzle.
Yeah.
And it requires cooperation. And yes, if I feel like we both figured something out together, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them after that experience to look at me like I have some special anything. That makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also human. So you
Exactly.
add in, it also reminded me too, it's just crazy how under totalitarian rule, everyone starts behaving the same.
Yeah.
So it
it's so
mirrored
crazy.
perfectly the cadre system in communist Russia, communist China, where all of a sudden everyone's incentivized to tattle on each other. Like once that dynamic sets in,
Well,
how
it's survival. If someone else is doing it, you better be doing it.
yes, but it's just like, it's sad
Yeah.
how predictable human beings will behave under certain
Circumstances.
yes. And we've seen it on a governmental side. We've seen,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I have, after watching so many of these, and especially this one,
yeah.
I have fully come to the conclusion that I would easily have been in any of these things.
You think?
Yes. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like I present
Yeah.
confident
Yes.
enough. And I do have a lot of confidence. But these people are smart enough
Uh-huh.
to know your specific vulnerability. They
To
know
suit the
what
insecurities.
you need to hear
Right.
in order to follow them.
Yeah.
And I'm susceptible to that. I
To
know
hearing
it.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I can see why you feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's wrong. What I think, though, that would always save you is similar to in Tom Arnold's autobiography when he said, luckily for him, he was more addicted to being famous than cocaine because he was going to lose being famous if he didn't get sober.
Yeah.
And I think these other addictions can be lifesavers. So I think for you, your greater obsession than maybe even the immediate comfort of those compliments is your fantasy of what your life's supposed to be and what you're supposed to accomplish. And I think for you, it'll become really evident really quickly that sitting in this apartment is
Yeah.
keeping you from the ultimate fantasy you have for your life. I think that's stronger in you than any of those other things would be.
Maybe. I hope so. I thought you were going to say justice. I thought you were going to say my propensity for like,
That too.
but eventually being like, this is not right.
Yeah, that too.
But
But I'm just saying, I think quickly, even if you enjoyed the attention and the affection and the approval, that the much louder voice in your head would be, what am I doing in my life sitting in this apartment listening to this person? I don't think it would ever be appealing enough for you to unplug from your broader
Maybe.
trajectory of life. Like a lot of these kids didn't have any sense of what they wanted to do. They
Yeah.
weren't moving to LA at the end of the semester.
That is
you know what I'm
true.
saying? Like they didn't have, in fact, that might be the most quintessential ingredient that the kids were lost in general and didn't know what they were doing. This person just provided a sense of direction. He had this stupid acronym of a fake thing he made up
Yeah.
about self-actualization that they bought into. I just feel like you already had some.
yeah, I hope that's true. I think some years could have gone to it. I think I could have lost some years.
Uh-huh.
And also, it's so hard. I mean, like when these things turn so bad, like in this case,
Mm-hmm.
or in Nexium and stuff, when there's just like this like definitive, now it's a sex cult.
Yeah.
Now it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
As soon as the
bad.
leader's fucking everyone,
Yes.
yeah, we've
And like hurting and harming, like really bad.
really violent towards the men.
Then you have a clear sense of like, oh, that's wrong.
Mhm.
But it's these more middle ground cult adjacent things that I know, like that I've been a part of.
Soul Cycle, UCB.
Yes, these things that I just the allure of the community and the
Yeah.
shared language and all of those things.
In group.
Yes, is so and approval from people.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, it's so strong, and those are almost trickier because there's no point in which you have the moment where you're like, oh wait, that's bad, so I should leave.
Right.
It's just you have to
There's nothing
know
nefarious
yourself,
afoot.
and know like, oh, maybe I'm getting too dragged into this very insular thing.
Oh, I definitely had that at the Groundlings. Like, it was my entire life for years. And when I was kicked out, I was literally like, I felt like I got kicked out of a cult. Like, what now? All my whole friendship circles in there. My whole week's taken up with writing these sketches and then performing them. Yeah, what a hole it leaves. If you let it become your whole life, when you lose it, you don't have a life to fall back on.
Which is, of course, why people don't leave them.
Yes. You would
What
think,
do you have?
Exactly. You're sitting there wondering, like, why don't they just get up and leave this apartment? But then on the other hand, you're not imagining for them that it's a void versus something they know.
It's starting
And a
your
void is
life from
scarier.
scratch.
Yes.
When
Which is
you're
not
an
even
adult.
true, but it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
so
even
back
had
to
a girlfriend once where I was like, when we break up, what am I? I'm a lost.
I think that's very common in relationships. I think that's
Yeah.
why many people stay in relationships.
Yeah.
Like, who am I without this?
Right.
Wait, so back to you being a cult leader.
Yeah. I mean, so ultimately, I should be watching those things and being very happy.
That you're not one?
Yeah, that I'm not nefarious.
Yeah.
And then I'm never trying to get one over on anyone.
Yes.
I'm not trying to get anything from anybody.
Yes.
I'm not opportunistic with my human relationships. I never really have been.
Yes, I agree.
It's one of the few things I have integrity about. I don't ask friends for help, whatever.
Well, that's not.
That's a bad part.
Yeah.
But like professional, I don't lean on relationships I have to advance myself professionally. I haven't to a fault over the years. But so I should feel good, I guess, when I watch those. But for me, it just makes me think I always have to be quadruple on myself.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds so arrogant to acknowledge.
Well, I'm saying
it is the truth of how I feel. And let's put it this way. This may be even worse to say, but in a world where everything is determined by physical might, you'd have to acknowledge if you are 7 feet tall and 300 pounds, you're going to have more sway in whatever society you're in.
Yes.
Because everything's decided by physical might.
Yes.
Ours is all decided by intellect. This is a part, like, one of the great things I think Sam Harris does say is, like, people have to acknowledge that, like, you didn't make yourself smart. You were fucking gifted it by your parents if you're smart. Like, there's nothing to be proud of. And it's not fair. There's a huge latitude of intelligence.
Yeah.
When you're in a public elementary school, as I was, there's kids being mainstreamed in your group that have a IQ of like 59, or whatever the cutoff is for mainstreaming, with some kid who's got a 180 IQ that's going to go to MIT. Anyways, if you recognize that we live in an intellectual economy and that people have some born gifts, they got to be ethical, those people.
Yes. I don't think it's arrogant at all. And I'm going to actually throw some other compliments, I guess.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. I mean, but it's more than your intellect. And we live in more than just an intellectual economy. We live in a patriarchal one, which you also are. We
value height for whatever reason.
There's this power from a literally a tall, handsome
Honky
man. They rule the world and have an innate power that society has given them. You're very charismatic and you are very smart. You literally have all of the components that would make it super easy to control a group. I mean, you just do. It's not just one or the other. You have all the pieces. And so I think it's really smart and nice and kind and good of you to acknowledge it. It's not arrogant. It's you must actually acknowledge.
You're right, because when I've been at my worst, it's when I feel justified in getting mine, right? Like just the simplest, I'm going to get mine on planet Earth. What has helped me morally do regrettable things is when I live in the disadvantages I've had.
Yeah.
And it justifies my previous theft.
Right.
I have scammed,
Yeah.
And so I think when I acknowledge the advantage I have,
Yeah.
the whole paradigm flips.
Yeah.
It's like now I'm the least entitled to go get something from somebody.
Right. I think not enough people are doing that, are thinking, what is my power in this world? How much do I have? Oh, no, I actually have a lot. I got to be careful not to exploit it or not to.
Yeah. Because it's
no
all
one
tempting.
Thinks, it's tempting, and no one thinks of themselves. I mean, some people do. Some like Trumps, like
Yeah.
But most people don't, and so you are just walking around as if like you're like
I've said
everyone
this
else.
in the past. Like I ignored the fact that I was the boss of 150 people while directing Chips because I don't think of myself as a boss.
Yes.
I didn't climb any corporate ladders.
For sure.
And I'd actively go like, oh, no, you're actually technically the boss.
Yes.
So when you want to come into work in Lycra stretch pants to make fun of someone,
Exactly.
that would be a good joke.
Yeah.
Not great for the boss to do. Well, I
Yeah.
gotta thank Nate for actually telling me. He's like, dude, you're the boss. You can't show up
Yes.
and fucking.
No, because it's a weird trap because there's this humble element to it where it's like, no, I'm not
One of
the
the
boss.
guy,
I'm
yeah.
just like everybody else. But no, but you are the boss. And unfortunately, that comes with some responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing just in life. Some of us come with different levels of responsibility based on our privileges.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to think about it, not arrogant.
Yeah. I'm glad we I had a hunch. Even when I recommended it to you. I'm always, in fact,
don't want
I
you
get
to-
really insecure when we're watching the same show and it has one of these characters. I really do. I start thinking you're thinking, oh, I'm a
Monster.
charlatan.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Okay.
I
sure?
yeah, I mean, kind of like what you said earlier, I can only be around that type of person for so long.
Right.
I
right.
can't do
Right.
that. And I also can't, maybe to a fault, and I think this is part of why some of this show works. I'm not going to not call you out on a thing.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
there is a time where I feel like, like we're getting into some yucky territory,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
Yes, of course.
And whether, that goes well or doesn't go well, that is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's who I
I
am.
I'm going to hear it.
You're going to hear it.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, an important piece of these people.
Hold on. I just thought you're not going to like this.
Okay.
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 I did just think of one characteristic that you have
Okay.
that actually would help you follow one of these
Yeah.
guys. I have noticed that it's a little bit hard for you to be critical of the people you love, at least the ones on the outside.
Oh, but I don't really love them.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
you mean like Ben and Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean Matt. I mean
Well, of course.
Ben. Like
I know.
anytime we talk about Ben, you
I
have this
know.
kind of like I just thought like, if anyone else lived the exact life, I just feel like you'd have such a
I know, but
different
this
opinion.
is sometimes we have had some encounters before about this,
Yeah,
some fights.
Yeah.
Because you think that I hate to do this and like pull down the facade, but you think I'm actually in love with them. And that to me is a problem.
No, that's not what I think.
Well, yeah, I kind of, right? Because you think my relationship with them is it's very false. It's a fantasy that's now part of a funny identity
Yep.
narrative.
For sure.
I am not in love with either of them. I don't know them. I can't be in love with someone I don't know.
Right. But the emperor has had no clothes on many times, and I feels like sometimes I
Of
would
course.
expect you to normally notice.
I'm going to defend them
Yeah.
till my dying day.
Right,
Well,
right.
actually, that's not true. If he pulls like some Kanye shit, yeah, no.
Okay, so it's just racist if he gets
He's
racist.
doing some racist or anti-Semitic or homophobic stuff, but he's not. He's very liberal.
Yeah.
So yes, I will defend. That's part of my,
The
that's
package.
part of the thing.
Okay.
But it's not.
It's not real. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty critical of people I love,
Yes. Yes.
and I
Yeah.
still love them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm picking
Maybe
people
more
apart.
critical. You know.
Well,
I think we're all more critical of the people we love. Actually.
I am more critical of them, but it's not like I'm looking for reasons to let people go. I'm
Right.
just saying, I know you. Like,
Yeah.
I know all the pieces. I'm noticing people's limitations and recognizing them as such and seeing a whole person. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, for me it is
too.
anyway.
Oh, I give you another example.
Okay.
Historically, you don't like when I bring up, or I think you don't like when I bring up that Obama had homophobic
Yeah,
policies. You
it
don't like
bothers
that.
me.
Yeah.
Well, but
so to
not-
me, that's a great example
Yeah.
of what I'm talking about. Like,
Yes.
I have people I love. They're super flawed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm happy to talk about how fucked up they are. Because
Yeah.
to me, you don't have to be, you can be homophobic and be a great president. I have capacity.
Well, I know.
It's regrettable. He changed. That's great.
Yeah.
All that. But I don't need to ignore that.
I don't either. There's more to why I get a little prickly when you say that. It's not about him. Yeah,
Right.
he was against gay marriage. Like he was.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. I mean, I feel like that's not the full story of it. And so when we say it like that, it makes me anxious for people who use that as like he was bad.
Well, I think he was great.
I know. And so I
Yeah.
guess that's where I get nervous in any of these sort of political conversations because people are looking to take a thing and paint a very wide brush.
Also, I'm generally bringing it up, if not all the time, with a different issue that you already dislike, which agreed. I'm usually pointing out to people who say, you're racist if you vote for Donald Trump. I'm making
Right.
the analogy, well, then you're homophobic if you vote for Obama.
Yeah.
And so because it's usually coming from, we're already talking about something that you despise naturally, as do I.
Right.
And I'm associating it with this person we love.
Yeah, I think there's something about that comparison that feels very uneven. And then I get anxious about that because Trump using slurs and like those things to me are not the same level as and then also because Obama redeemed himself in that very specific
Ultimately, yeah.
category. And Trump never did. He only doubled down over and over and over again and caused so much hate and so much, that it's hard for me to hear those two in the same sentence.
Truly, but I'm always just trying to point out, like, you don't get a perfect candidate.
Yes.
And I was very actively in support of gay marriage. I fucking hated when Obama would watch him and go, what the fuck
What
are you saying? Like, I
doing?
hated it.
Yeah.
I still voted for him.
Yes.
So that's all I think is relevant is like,
Totally.
yeah.
No, and I also, by the way, I agree that I don't think you had to be racist to vote for him, but I think you had to ignore a lot of racism. And for me, that's triggering as
again,
someone who
You're not in a position that can ignore it.
exactly
A gay person can't ignore,
yes.
so it's kind of like a privilege of which ones you can overlook.
Totally.
Yeah.
Although, and then you hear stories like, Jesse Tyler Ferguson was on and was saying like at that inauguration, Obama's like, we got you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to hear that from someone who's in it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because
I did think though that we all are hardwired from being children to overlook
yes.
things from the people we love.
Yes.
And I think we really easily extend that to people in the public that we love.
Yeah.
And it gets very hard if you love R. Kelly to let in some of these facts.
Sure.
It's hard to, you love Michael Jackson to let in some of these facts. It's hard for me to know Bukowski was beating women up.
Yeah, it's hard.
I hate it, you know.
Yeah.
But
No one's perfect. I mean,
yeah,
that's just no one is perfect.
You just got to do it. You just got to
Yes.
like, here's the whole person.
Yeah, that is true.
Because I actually think, not that we should be aspiring to have shittier people represent us. I do think we
need to aspire to have a more grown-up view of what humans are.
I agree.
And some latitude of
Yeah.
what we accept. I don't care. I don't really need to know my plumber's politics if my fucking tub is leaking. Like I need my,
I agree with all of that. I also think political figures are different. Everyone's playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, sometimes I get angry that the left doesn't play the same game.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that gay marriage thing was him playing the game.
For maybe affordable health care.
Yeah. And at a time when a lot of people were not for gay marriage to get them on his side.
Yeah.
And that sucks, of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. We've gone so long.
That tells me we haven't gotten to do this in a week.
I know.
Yeah.
It's true.
When I put my shoes on to come out of my bedroom to come here, I was very excited.
Yeah, me too. I have to talk next time about my new armoire. I got a third armoire. So that's
Oh my God.
That's an Easter egg.
You're teetering on being a hoarder.
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Too much furniture.
This
in a
one felt-
one-bedroom apartment.
This one felt like I had crossed the line.
Uh-huh.
But then it looks beautiful where I put
Oh,
it.
wonder. So you have 3 in your room now?
No, one is now in the living room.
Okay. The big boy you moved across the...
No, my new one. It's gorgeous.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
it's gorgeous.
Oh, good. That sounds like it's positive.
Yeah. Okay, and this is also sort of a ding, ding, ding because you mentioned the acronym that that the guy gave,
Yeah.
and then you gave an acronym in this, and then Shania said they don't have abbreviations in Canada.
She was teasing.
No, she was serious. And then I asked Matt.
Our go-to Canadian.
Yes, I texted
Expert.
him last night and said, question, I'm doing facts for my fact check on Shania Twain. She said they don't use abbreviations in Canada. Can you deny or confirm? And he said, can you give me an example? And I said, yeah, like Dax said something like POV and she didn't understand and said, oh, we don't do abbreviations in Canada, so I'm really bad at knowing them. And he said, I think on text we do. Maybe it's a younger thing, but I don't think I've ever said one verbally. That's a tricky one.
Okay,
so
so
we don't really
know. Yeah.
If any Canadians want to weigh in,
Yeah.
feel free.
Oh, I got to add one thing.
Okay.
I don't know if I've already done this, but I swear it keeps coming up in comments, and I feel very obligated to really set the record straight.
Okay.
People often write me, oh my God, I saw Chips. I love it. You shouldn't talk so bad about it.
Oh.
I get this nonstop.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to be so clear. I talk about that it didn't do well financially. I love
Yes,
Chips.
yes.
I'm so fucking proud of
Yeah,
that movie.
as you should be.
I love it. It is a fucking ride and a half. It's
Yeah.
exactly what I hoped it'd be. So I'm only talking that it didn't do well financially.
Right.
Yeah.
I did. I loved it too. I saw it many times.
You did.
And that's sort of a ding, ding, ding because I went to the Party Down premiere.
Oh, for Ryan Hansen,
Ryan.
Solves Crimes on Television.
It's great. They showed the first 2 episodes. It's super funny. It's so good. I was getting my hair and makeup done for something else earlier that day, and it was nice because I was going to the premiere.
Yeah, very convenient.
And Courtney Hart, shout out Courtney Hart, was doing my makeup, and I was sitting with her, and I thought, oh my gosh, Courtney, remember when you did my makeup for the Chips premiere? Just so long ago. And she was like, oh yeah. And I really got transported to that time. It was such a special day. So proud of you.
Thank you. That was a hard day for me
I'm sure.
because I knew it was going to do bad.
Oh.
I already had the tracking, right? So that was like, that's only 4 days before it comes out. Maybe I went to New York that next morning to promote it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm there with all my friends. Everyone loves it. I love it. And I know it's going to fail. And it's the worst feeling to like go, God, but I did it. Like I did what you're supposed to do and everyone loves
But I
it.
hope it could then, both things could happen where you also think, well, it's not going to do well, but look at all these people who love it. It's fun.
I did focus. I mean, you being one of the main parts, or my
Yeah.
sister, like seeing the people I love at a premiere of a movie
Yeah,
they were in made
so
me
special.
really happy. Yeah.
So special. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, one real quick fact I have to check. The song in Three Musketeers is called All for Love.
Brian Adams.
Yeah, it's Bryan Adams, but it's not Everything I Do.
Okay.
It's All for Love,
Okay.
which is a different one. Also, we said her third album is the most albums ever sold by a female artist, but Wikipedia says that's Madonna.
Oh, what did it say? How many?
It says Madonna is believed to have sold the most records.
Oh,
Is
career
this
for
wrong?
sure.
Oh.
This is just a single record.
Okay. Most, how do I write it? Most.
Female album.
I put, okay.
Highest selling female
Biggest
album.
female album.
Yeah.
Oh
Nora
my
Jones
God.
has to be up there.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, wait. Hold on. No.
Yes. Oh, no.
Whitney Houston.
How many copies?
Estimated sales 45 million.
Dude.
But Shania's second.
Okay. With 40 million?
Yep.
Damn, sister.
Wow. Cool.
Why is Whitney's estimated? That
Nora
makes no sense.
is-
Yes, did you hear me mutter
Yeah,
that?
you did. That's why. But she's
20 million, yeah?
she is 27.
27 million. Get it, Jones.
Who do you think's third after Shania? So this is now we're in 30 to 39.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 in here.
Oh my God. Well, I would think Madonna has an album that
She does, but she's 5th.
she's 5th.
So she's 7th on the overall.
And Adele's too late for album sales.
Adele's in here.
She is.
Yeah, she's above Madonna.
Damn, girl. Oh,
Yeah, we've had her on.
yeah. Alicia Keys.
No, but I love her.
Mm.
This is gonna surprise you, I think.
It's ironic.
Oh, Jesus. Alanis Morissette.
Yes.
Robin is puns.
Yes. Loves those puns. Oh my God. Yeah.
Very uncommon. Hit me with that list.
Okay, so Whitney,
Mm-hmm.
Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette, Celine Dion again,
Oh, boy.
Adele, Madonna, Mariah Carey, Nora, Carole King,
Sure.
Whitney Houston again, Madonna, Britney Spears, Spice Girls, and then more.
And
But
who gives a fuck?
yeah.
It's all
This-
repeats after that for a
There's
while.
no Taylor. I'm actually surprised.
But Taylor's post-album sells.
Yeah, you're right.
Like that list will never change.
You're right.
Like that's the only, you can't say that about movies or anything. That list will never change.
Taylor Swift, actually, she's last on this list. She's in the 10 million copies. She's 10 million for 1989. And that's pretty good for, like you said, her time.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. All right. That was that.
I loved her.
Me too.
Let's go, girls.
Let's
Wasn't
go,
she
girls.
spunky? And
Kelly loves to say that.
does she?
Yeah, and she flips her hair around.
Oh God, I want to see her and her like feeling it.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah,
cute. It's
yeah.
really cute.
It's an anthem.
Yeah.
Rally cry.
All right.
So go get some D. Is that what it? I mean,
No, it's like,
isn't it?
no,
At
it's
the end
like
of the day?
independent women, I think.
Oh, I think of girls doing it like 5 girls together. They're listening to it before they go out to the bar.
Oh, I mean,
Like they're gonna dance. They're gonna tear it up. Maybe get some D.
if
No.
they want it,
Yeah.
only if they want it,
Well, yeah, we hope. Yeah.
only if they feel empowered to take
It's-
control.
Right. That brings them further along on the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I love you.
Was there one other thing? No, that we really did
We
it.
did it.
Yeah. I love you.
Bye.